dip. Enjoy the hot weather. Be careful if you're out there working. It's another hot one. We got a lot coming your way today. Cody Goodwin from Power Mizzou is going to be with us. We'll talk SEC Media Days. He's been down there covering them for Power Mizzou. Get his thoughts on what Eli Drinkwitz had to say, the vibe around the SEC breaking away, expanded playoffs, all things college football and SEC times Mizzou is what we will do with Cody Goodwin. Frank Bull will be with us, the godfather of Kansas City sports. We'll get some Frank opinions, play What in the World, Seren. That's coming up in the 3 o'clock hour. Sam McDowell, columnist for your Kansas City Star, will be with us in the 4 o'clock hour. Then in the 5, Eno Saris, big-time baseball thinker. Good writer, too, on top of it. He thinks about it, then he puts pen to paper.
Yeah, and if you've ever heard
keyboard.
If you've ever heard Eno Saris talk or explain something about baseball, thinker. That's a great way.
You like that?
Yeah.
The thoughtful, bright, intelligent guy. I like that. I learned something from Eno Saris. Eno Saris. Like how to say his name.
Yeah,
it's the first thing I plan on learning today. You know, you got a shortcut, Eno. Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's, Pele's given name. That's like 48 letters or something. It's 3 letters and 5 letters, for God's sake. I had to be able to stammer that out, even as dumb as I am. We've got all that coming your way and more. Thunderdome in the big guy's chair said, thank God this guy's finally out of here. I'm taking his seat. So,
Thunderdome's going to take his seat on Thursday for Chumps, too.
Is he really?
He is, yeah.
Ooh, are you ready? You think you got what it takes? You think you can take the grilling that Pete Enoch's going to give you? The microphone's over there. If you're going to be in this business, you can't be that shy.
He needs to put on headphones first.
Well, but he can hear me sitting across from him. He just won't be able to hear you. But you think you can handle it? You think you're ready for being grilled by Pete Enoch? He's a pretty intimidating character.
Should try not to embarrass myself.
Okay, that's another option. There you go. So that's the Shane Summers approach.
That was Darcy's approach as well.
Yeah, just don't embarrass yourself. Okay. I see where you're going there. I like it. That's, aim low, undersell, over-deliver, that kind of thing. Is that what you're thinking?
Exactly.
Okay. We'll take it. We'll see what you bring to the equation on Thursday as, it's a lot lighter around here. The studio's not 38 degrees, but there is more work to be done. I don't say that. We do have to parcel out the work. There are the good points. There are the good points when any of us leave, right? But then there's the negative too. So we got that going for us. Royals 4-3. You heard Eisenbach there for the second time in 4 games. They walk off, that is noteworthy. I'm not making fun of his call, but there is an element of like, hey, really, that's where we're at? I mean, these are small victories. But listen,
you gotta look for them.
You do, and when you find them and when you have them, magnify them. And listen, he's part of the Royals broadcast. I expect nothing less. It was a fine call to finish off the game. And 4-3, the Royals win. They've now taken 3 out of 4, red hot to start this second half of the year. I mean, break them up. They have. Let's see. I want to see where they've been. They've been outscored. 29-19. That's how bad that 19-2 is. They're 3-1 and they've been outscored by 10 runs. Their run differential has sank by 10 runs in the second half, even though they've taken 3 out of 4, which is baseball, and it's also this team. We know it's a haggard team. It's beaten up, battered, and so I listen. Tanking happens at the GM and ownership level. It is not something that Matt Quatrero and a coaching staff and players do. They should not be out there trying to tank. They should be out there trying to win every game. And if you want to tank, if that is your mission, then you need to strip the roster down so it's just incapable of winning games. There are still good pieces on this roster, and we saw some of that yesterday. Salvador Perez, now just 1 home run away from tying George Brett's mark. Can't wait till he's past that because I want to see if that opens up his hitting. I want to see if he's been home run hunting this whole year, and that's it. I don't think it's the case. I think he's getting old and plays a position that really wears you out. But it's my last stand of where I think we could see Salvador Perez bounce back, as if it's, okay, the record's out of the way. He's taking a different approach. They're going to be better. I'm open to that. But Isaac Collins, couple of base hits, I like that. Just a professional win out of this team. When you have your, let's call him, what is the Royals ace. I don't think Michael Wacha is a true ace, but he's their number one starter without. When he's on the mound, you got to find a way to win. Don't screw it up. If you're the bullpen, damn if they didn't try.
Yeah, it's been a theme of the second half so far.
I mean, damn if they didn't try. Steven Cruz, much maligned by one Dan Clinkscale, comes through with a clean inning. Daniel Lynch allows a base hit, but nobody to score. And it's up to Alex Lang, and I think what we're seeing is Alex Lang is they've got a lot of middle guys. It is amazing to me. Daniel Lynch has a 2.18, and they are just not going to let him close. And that is one of the things that I took away from last night's game. It's like, okay, Alex Lang has done it before. I think he's got 30-odd saves in his career. Maybe he's over 40 now with the handful he's gotten this year. But, I mean, Alex Lang at times has the strikeout there, but, like I said, I think ideally he's a middle-inning guy. And if you're not closing with Daniel Lynch when he, I think by far, has your best numbers in that bullpen, I want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. I mean, Schreiber's got a 338. I don't think that's. I mean, he's a roogie, if you were honest about it, a guy that you really only want facing right-handers. But I'm looking just even from FIP. Daniel Lynch's FIP, his fielding independent pitching, is 3.10. And that is better than every single pitcher on the team, with the exception of the 1/3. Wait a minute. Let me see this here. With the exception of the Jose Cuas, 6 1/3 innings pitched. That's the only fielding independent pitching that is better than the 3.01 that Daniel Lynch is, or 3.10 that Daniel Lynch has run up there. So why not close with him?
They found his role, and that's where his value's highest.
It says to me that they're showcasing him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they don't want to put him in a role where he looks worse. They want to keep magnifying what his strengths are, and if somebody's looking for middle relief, they want to sell him as a top-shelf middle reliever. Which is interesting, because if you're worried about control everywhere else, why aren't you worried about control when it comes to your relievers? Like, now I think it's a lot easier to find a guy to replace Daniel Lynch, but by the mindset, this is where you get into problems when you're like, well, we're not talking Wacha because if we move him, I mean, we just got to replace him for 27. Well, you got to find somebody to pitch Daniel Lynch's innings. So if he goes, now again, it's less innings. It's easier to find bullpen help. Easier maybe in theory, but you haven't been able to do it. Like the Royals bullpen building has been Carlos Estevez, they nailed it with him. They had to pay the extra year to get him, and the second year blew up on him.
Yeah.
But Schreiber's been okay, but they have just not been, and this is more of a system thing. This is more of a philosophical thing. I don't know how much they've changed things down in the minor leagues, but just so many guys coming up that can't be relievers, and so much time wasted. I still think that Brady Singer's the best part of Brady Singer's career. May very well be as a reliever. He's had moments. He's chased a no-hitter after 8 innings. He's had a couple of pretty good years. But I think if you strip down the stuff that he doesn't want to throw and let him just attack 3 to 5 batters or even 3 to 9 batters in the middle, then I think he could be a real weapon. I mean,
yeah, I forget which year it was. He did not start the year on the opening day roster. Or he may have started in the bullpen. But he came out and he was letting it eat. He was throwing the sinker at 97, 98, and he's got a nasty slider. I've always thought Brady Singer would be.
Keith Law said he doesn't have a weapon for left-handers. You're going to have to find something. This is on draft day. Keith Law's write-up on him was he doesn't have a weapon for left-handers. They're going to be a problem. He's going to have to find something for that. But if you put him in the bullpen, he should be a top-shelf closer. That was what Keith Law said about him when he came out of Florida. That's why he fell from being in consideration for the number 1 pick and was available for the Royals at 18, 19, 20, whenever it was he
18,
went.
Yeah.
So, that's that comes back to it's another reason to go find starters. And if you listen to the Jeff Passan segment yesterday, and if you didn't and you missed it, 810WHB.com, the 810 app, go check it out, the 5 o'clock hour on Monday. And we talked a lot about it, that if your plan is for 27, then there's no reason to think that you shouldn't be adding to this club, adding players that have multiple years of control. Like, if that's it, if you really think you're going to contend in 27, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to go out and find a starting pitcher who's got this year and a couple more years worth of control, the way you did with Bergert and Kolek. But even more so, that if you're going to compete, if you're saying you're going to compete in 27, this is Jeff Passan's words. He said, you can squint and see it for the playoffs. You got to really squint to see a playoff year next year. So if that's the case, why wouldn't you regroup and play for 28? He said, well, it's going to take money. I mean, you're going to have to buy pitchers. The starting pitching for the Kansas City Royals is 4 deep right now and for next year. It's Waka, it's a struggling Lugo, it's a struggling Noah Cameron, and it's a short-distance Luinder Avila. There is your rotation. So the idea that, well, if we let Waka go, I mean, how are we going to contend? Well, show me how you're going to contend with him first.
Right.
When I buy into that, if I were John Sherman, I want to hear how you're going to contend with him. Without me giving you another $120 million to spend, how are you going to put together a playoff caliber team? And if you can't explain to me how we've got a playoff caliber ball club next year with Michael Wacha, why are we keeping Michael Wacha?
And it encourages me that Daniel Lynch is possibly being showcased for other teams. You shouldn't worry about the second half of 27. And look for the little signs there: Bobby Witt Jr., Caglione, Carter Jensen. Look for those guys to improve. But I want to read this off from our very own Jack Johnson. This is just in the last month or so. The Royals have traded for or signed Connor Siebold, Randy Dobnak, Matt Moore, Scott Barlow, Grant Gambrell, Justin Topa, Vince Velasquez, Easton McGee, Scott Alexander, and Aaron Bummer yesterday. Just find guys to put in that that bullpen and or rotation for the rest of 27 and see what you can get at the deadline.
Well, and I think one of the things, like, where's the creativity? I mean, Eric Fetty is working as like a 3 or 4 inning, like he sees nobody. Something I've talked about a lot, that I think you're going to have a handful of guys that are really, will let him enter a third time through the rotation. But the White Sox have taken Eric Fetty and made him like a 3 to 4 inning guy. And I think usually he doesn't start. He pops up because he's on my fantasy team, and he's become very effective in that. He sees no one a third time. And so they piggyback a couple of guys that are 3+ inning guys, then they 1 inning it with all the power guys at the back end. Where is something like that? Like, is there not someone in the organization, and I've got about 2 more years, the rest of this year and next year, where I will sit and continue to be patient to wait for the Brian Bridges players to make their way up. But I'll also sit here and tell you that you have to supplement that with trades. You have to supplement that with free agents. And, the guys that there wasn't any. I mean, you've heard some of those names. Some of them are just, oh, we know that guy. Let's go get Scott Alexander. We know that guy. Let's go get Scott Barlow. Like there is no ceiling. There is no upside. There is no promise. It's just a guy we've hung with. He's pretty cool on the flights. Let's try him.
It's a body is what it is.
Yeah. And so, at the trade deadline, I really, to me, what I think John Sherman needs to tell J.J. Picoult and really almost his whole team, I'm coming in the conference room, and you make me a presentation, get somebody to put a PowerPoint together, get Daniel Mack to show me some numbers, and you explain to me how we are a winning ball club with Michael Wacha next year. How do we get there? What's the path? And if you can't efficiently and make it more than just some pipe dream explanation, then why are we keeping our most valuable asset when it seems like you're grabbing at straws for next year? And I do not want to hear any more, not for 1 second do I want to hear again, well, when you got Bobby Witt, oh, you mean the guy who came out of the game? The guy who's now missed time for the 4th time this year? The guy who now has a back problem while he swings a baseball bat? Like, nothing is promised to you. Nothing. Like, you didn't want to move Cole Reagans because we're not going to find an ace like that just anywhere. Yeah, but you can find guys who get hurt all the time everywhere. And that's who he is, too. And so with Bobby Witt, making your decisions based upon trying to make the best reasonable effort. Because let's be honest, they're not making the best effort to win with Bobby. If they were making the best effort to win with Bobby, they would be signing Kyle Tucker. They would be signing some premium free agents. They would go out and blow away the market for Juan Soto. So you're doing the best you can within the limits of what you have. Well, the limits are the story with small market baseball. They can't ever be poo-pooed away. You can't say, well, we're going for it because we have Bobby. Oh, okay. Well, which $30 million free agent are you going to get? Well, we're not. Okay. Well, but we're going to try to sign a couple of fringy guys and hope that works, and we're going to make a trade. Like, you can't go for it for Bobby unless you're going to unleash the purse strings. And I frankly would not recommend it because it usually doesn't work. The people that you're buying, the people that are available for nothing more than money are usually minimum 28, 29 years old. Oftentimes 31, 32. And having a bunch of dead contracts is not how the Kansas City Royals are going to win year over year. So listen, Bobby Witt is signed. Stop worrying about whether or not Bobby Witt's going to be happy. Stop worrying about whether or not Bobby Witt's going to exercise you out in his contract, and make good baseball decisions for the long haul. Because making questionable decisions for the long haul that give you a 1 or 2% better chance to win right now is asinine. It's ridiculous. It's not how you win with a small market. And it looked like that transition had been made. It looked like that change had come. It looked like, hey, we hired all these guys from the Rays and Guardians. We're doing business the way they do. Well, if you're hanging on to 35-year-old pitchers because you think you got to win a 75th, 76th, and 77th game to keep Bobby Witt happy, you're barking up the wrong tree. You're barking up the wrong tree. You need to build a winning baseball team. And you've got holes everywhere. You literally, right now, functioning, operating at a high level, you have one starting pitcher. You have two relievers, Schreiber and Lynch. The one starting pitcher is Walker because Noah Cameron's a mess. Luindo Avila can't go deep and it walks too many guys. Seth Lugo's a problem. You have no fifth. And you have nobody in AAA or even AA, frankly, that's healthy and looks like they could be an answer next year. Around the diamond, you have a catcher. You have two first basemen. You kind of got a second baseman with Michael Massey. If everyone else is in place, he's fine. You got a shortstop who's now battling injuries this year. You got a third baseman that's hurt and took a nosedive when it comes to his production. But off last year, I'd say you got a third baseman. And that's it. You want to call Caglione right field? Fine. I think you're going to damage his career the longer you put him out there, but that's it. And maybe you got a third or fourth outfielder in Isaac Collins. I do like Isaac Collins. But if you have Isaac Collins, you better have a couple of guys that can hit the ball over the wall because he's just not going to do it enough. He just doesn't have the pop. So, I mean, I think this is where we say it all the time. Look in the mirror what's really looking back at you. What is really looking back at you? What's looking back at you is a team that has one legitimate starting pitcher. Burgett's hurt. Kolek's hurt. Reagans is hurt. And you don't control Chris Bubich, and he's hurt anyway. And the guy who's probably the closest, Lumpkin, is hurt with an injury that you won't even tell the public what it is. I don't know why that is. There may be a very good reason, but it's freaking bizarre.
Yeah, 60-day IL, made it to AA, was rising quick, Texas A&M college pitcher, and he's been shelved.
And so, like, take him off the board. Like, if we have magnets of, like, who are we counting on and when could they be here? Take that one and just throw it over here on this board on the side for, well, let me know when we figure out what's going on with him. I mean, it almost sounds like he got the yips or, you know, there's a psychological issue. I mean, it's clearly something that he doesn't want people to know. It's clearly some kind of HIPAA thing. Well, no, they don't want it out, so we can't put it out. When else? Who else have we seen this with? I mean, listen, I don't, like I said, I don't know what's up. I don't know what's up, but it's sketch. I'll say that much. It's sketch. All right, let's take a break. We're going to shift gears. We're going to talk some SEC football, Mizzou football, college football. That's coming up next when we are joined by the pride of Power Mizzou. One Cody Goodwin joins us next here in the program.
The program with Soren Petro.
If you can work the little one-hand tug, it's a little easier.
Weekdays from 2 to 6 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
I think that's what's maybe going on his vacation. Applause Custom Sight and Sound, Kansas City's best when it comes to true smart home technology, the best when it comes to in-home theaters. I can't tell you how much I love Applause Custom Sight and Sound. Great people to work with. Their customer service is fantastic. Their knowledge of what it is they're building is fantastic. They're the best when it comes to the technology, efficient. I'm going to tell you what, we added on the security and surveillance around our house. Applause took about a day and a couple of hours, cut no holes anywhere in our house. House is all done, had to wire up the cameras everywhere, and added it on to the system that was already there. It was super efficient, super cost-effective. Applause Custom Sight and Sound builds it right the first time. That's why they've been in business for more than 20 years. You heard me right, like 22 years or something like that. Call 913-498-1183. Make an appointment right now. You can find them online at applausetheater.com. Things like rocket-fast Wi-Fi, I mentioned the security, the surveillance. How about in-home theaters? How about a video wall? You love game day? We're going to talk some SEC football here in a minute. You love watching all the games? How about setting up, 3 TVs? How about setting up 5 TVs on a wall? You never miss anything. That was my inspiration. I wanted multiple TVs that I could control, easy to use, and I can do it now from my smartphone. But there's so much more. The lighting, the sound, the climate control, inside your house, outside your house, your office. That's right, smart home technology is for the office as well, and Applause Custom Sight and Sound does those jobs as well. So what are you waiting for? Get the very best. Get Applause Custom Sight and Sound working for you today. Call 913-498-1183. Find them on the web at applausetheater.com.
Men, erectile dysfunction can affect much more than just your sex life. It can create stress in relationships, leading to feelings of anxiety or embarrassment, and impact your overall confidence and well-being. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and we specialize in treating men's sexual health issues to help men find solutions that fit their individual needs. ED is a frustrating condition, and many men suffer for years without seeking treatment. But the good news is that if you're like most men, we have the answer. Our licensed medical providers will evaluate your specific medical situation and recommend a plan designed for you. And these advanced medical therapies work, with treatments having success.
SEC Media Days going on. The center of the world. If you ask anybody from the SEC, they will be happy to tell you that that is the case, that the world has stopped for SEC Media Days. A lot of big talk there. We want to get the flavor from a guy who is covering the SEC Media Days. Cody Goodwin joins us from PowerMizzou.com, handles the football beat at Power Mizzou. Cody, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. I don't know if the entire world has stopped, but, there's a lot to talk about here in the southern part of the country. I guess we can go that far.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the SEC acts like the rest of the world stops whenever they have this moment and their grandiose plans. First of all, let's start with the comments of Eli Drinkwitz yesterday. How did you receive what Eli Drinkwitz said about Ahmad Hardy? We played all the bites yesterday, and I'm just curious, what do you think his status is, and what do you think the expectation is, how he's going to play compared to how he played last year?
Yeah, so I think the way I took it was that he is now cleared to start the recovery toward the return to football, right? Because when it comes to a gunshot wound, and I know Drinkwitz has made this comment previously, there's not a lot of data and there's not a lot of protocol in place as for, what is required to get back on the field from an injury, from a thing like that, right? So, I think the fact that he has now been cleared to start the return to football protocol is encouraging. The timeline that Drinkwitz gave was anywhere from 5 to 8 weeks. And if we all pull out our calendars, that could be anywhere from, about a week or so before the season opener against Pine Bluff. That could also be after the Kansas game, well into September. So still a little maybe hazy and uncertain on when the exact timeline is. But, if we weren't already going to be paying close attention to the running back room in fall camp, when that starts in a couple weeks, we are definitely going to be paying attention to how 29 does now.
All right, here's another question I have for you, because I listened to the comments and I came away with one impression, and I've heard other people talk about it, and they seem to come away with another. Did the bullet strike a bone or not?
That is what Drinkwitz said, that it did strike a bone, and that there was some initial surgery to at least find the bullet initially when he was first taken to the hospital after it all happened. So, but yeah, Drinkwitz did confirm that it struck a bone and that has fully recovered, and that's kind of allowed him to start the return to sports stuff. And
so now it's a matter of whatever, we're no doctors here, but it would seem like, when he talks about the recovery, so he's cleared to get out there, but now we have to build up strength in the leg, I'm assuming. Either the bullet slicing through muscle, tendons, whatever it cut through, coupled with the surgeons going in, cutting up whatever they did. It's a matter of strengthening that and getting the leg back. And it does not sound like there is a guarantee it will be as strong as it was.
It doesn't sound like it.
Doesn't sound like it definitely won't be. I want to be clear. Sorry to interrupt you there. It doesn't sound like it definitely won't be, but it also doesn't sound like it definitely will be the way he really seemed to be hedging his bet on what he's going to be when he plays.
Yeah, I mean, there's, I don't think any of us know exactly what it's going to look like. It's going to be different, and what does that mean? I mean, is he going to be a lesser version? Is he going to be able to get back to where he was last season? Is he going to be able to, maybe use this to catapult his way up and do even better? Drinkwitz seemed to err on the side of optimism just because he's been there in the facility and has seen his rehab and just the way that he has recovered from the bullet wound. Attacking his rehab and all that stuff. Like, he's been at the facility every single day since he's got back to Columbia in mid-May, and they did some of the initial surgeries and operations and stuff. So Drinkwitz said the quote that, it's my anticipation that he is going to be a better version of Ahmad Hardy. Which is pretty strong words, and that tells me that they feel pretty good in the building about where he's at right now and where he could potentially be 5 to 8 weeks from now. So what does that mean? We don't know, but they clearly feel pretty good about what's going on.
Yeah, we're talking right now with Cody Goodwin from Power Mizzou about the SEC Media Days, the Tigers in particular. We feel good, though, that if they got to play for, like you said, a week or two without him, they're still in pretty good shape at the running back position.
Yeah, they'll have Jamal Roberts, who was, he was the hero that did the nail in the coffin against Kansas last year at Faurot Field, the 63-yard touchdown run. He ran for 750 yards last season, 6 touchdowns, averaged 6 yards a carry. He's also a little bit more of a threat as like catching passes out of the backfield. Also an excellent third down back in terms of pass protection. So if Mizzou has to ride the Jamal Roberts train for a while, I think they're in good shape. They retooled the running back room a little bit through the portal and brought up a handful of FCS transfers in Zyshawn Edwards, who's a 1,000-yard rusher last year down in, I believe, Houston Christian. And then they also got Malay Fonatai from Montana. So a couple of talented FCS guys. You wonder what the transition will be like, not just from FCS to FBS, but to the SEC. But those are guys that I know that they're excited about. And if there's one thing you can bank on with Mizzou under Drinkwitz, it's a pretty efficient run game. So the running back room, if they have to go without Hardy for the first few weeks of the season, I think they feel okay.
Do we, if the season goes the best it can be, which 6.5 is the win total, so I'm thinking it's a 10-win season somehow. Does Ahmad Hardy does the running game have to carry that kind of load, or if they have that kind of year, does it mean that somebody emerged and grabbed the quarterback spot and played it at a high level?
Yeah, I think it's probably a little bit of both, right? Because as long as Drinkwitz is there, they're going to run the ball first. That's going to be the offense. It's going to be the identity. They're going to run the ball 60 to 65% of the time. If they want to get to that 8, 9, 10-win plateau, if we're really talking best-case scenario here, Austin Simmons at quarterback is going to live up to his billing as a super talented left-handed strong-arm quarterback, and he's going to be able to raise the ceiling of this entire operation. I mean, you look at last year's team, top 10 defense. Ahmad Hardy was a consensus All-American. They just they couldn't press enough buttons on offense to really be versatile and dynamic enough to beat some of the better teams on their schedule, talking like Alabama, Oklahoma, Texas A&M. All three of those teams made the playoff, and I know A&M kind of ran through them in Columbia, but Mizzou was right there at the end of the game against Alabama. They were in the thick of it, at least for a little while, against Oklahoma. If they had a quarterback that could stress the defense a little bit and either open up more holes for the run game or hit on some of those explosive plays that Drinkwitz is always trying to look for, who knows where last season could have ultimately gone. So I think there's still maybe a few too many questions to really know right now what this offense is capable of. But if all things go according to plan, Hardy comes back and probably hits another 1,000 yards, and Austin Simmons is the dude that the people in the building believe he can be.
He was asked about the quarterback position. I think even Austin Simmons was in the question, and he worked in Matt Zollers into the answer. Is that a good sign? Or is it, I mean, listen, I'm a big believer in you got more than one quarterback, you don't got one. But is that just because the kid's working hard and he wants to give him some love and make sure he's not looking over his shoulder? He's definitely not this year's plan, but he does like him on into the future? Or is that because he doesn't have any idea who it's going to end up being and he might as well start putting his name on the board?
Yeah, I think Drinkwitz really likes Matt Zollers, man. Like this is a guy that's got a strong arm, and I know he was a true freshman last year, and even on top of that, he didn't play a lot his senior year back in Pennsylvania. He had a pretty gnarly ankle injury early on, so sitting on the shelf, and then by the time he actually gets back and plays meaningful football, it's in Nashville against a 10-win Vanderbilt team. Hey, welcome to the SEC, right? So that was a challenge in and of itself. But I know that Drinkwitz has been talking very highly of Matt Zollers. We saw the arm strength at times last season. This is a dude that just needs reps. And so I wonder if, taking last year, he played over 250 snaps because, Bo got hurt and he was able to get some snaps early in the season. You wonder if he's able to take that experience and have like a really focused year of development this season. So, and then I think the other thing too is, Drinkwitz is playing the game. He's a college football coach in the year of our Lord 2026. He wants to make sure that Matt Zollers knows that he's appreciated because everybody's a free agent at the end of the season, right? So he likes Matt Zollers. He wants him to stick around. He wants him to develop. I think there's a good quarterback in there somewhere, but the guy just needs to develop. He needs to fine-tune some technical stuff, and then he just needs reps. And so he probably won't get them this year if Simmons is the guy who they believe that they can be, but in the future, Zollers could potentially be the starting quarterback at Missouri.
How much pressure is there on Drinkwitz to solve the quarterback spot? Listen, if the quarterback throws for 1,200 yards, but they go 12-0, no one's going to care. I get that. I understand that. I'm not saying that that's it, but it is kind of the one thing we're still wondering about him. We know we can find linemen, defensive players, running backs. He clearly understands how to get talent into Missouri, and with the help of all their people that are funding the NIL payments and everything. But we know he can get talent. We're not sure that he can find that top shelf quarterback. How much pressure's on him? How much does he feel, do you think, to go really solve the quarterback spot with a home run?
I think that there's a little bit of pressure, right? Because he's done well recruiting through the portal, right? Like he has gotten Jaden Daniels, Heisman winner now in the NFL. He got him on campus, couldn't close the deal. Same thing with Fernando Mendoza. He got him on campus, could not close the deal. And so I think there's something to be said about, hey, they identified Austin Simmons immediately when the portal opened. And not only did they identify him as the guy that they wanted, but they were able to get him. They were able to close the deal this time. And so then I think that's one thing. But the other thing, too, is, Drinkwitz had to make some hires this offseason on his offensive staff because Kirby Moore left to become the head coach at Washington State. Great opportunity for him. And so Drinkwitz goes out of his way to hire. He was very strategic in his hires when you look at it, right? Chip Lindsey, the new offensive coordinator, came from Michigan. This is a guy that's got a documented history of quarterback development, right? With Drake May, Nick Mullins, Jarrett Stidham. He was the first to identify Bo Nix on the recruiting trail. And then on top of that, Drinkwitz also hired Garrett Riley as the quarterbacks coach, and he came over from Clemson. He was the Broyles Award winner as the nation's top assistant coach when he was at TCU and helped Max Duggan become a Heisman finalist, helped that Horned Frog team get to the national championship game. So not only did he get the quarterback he wanted, but he has surrounded him with a brain trust that he hopes is going to get the best out of Austin Simmons. And so, yeah, I think there's a little bit of pressure. I think the moves that he's made kind of reflects that a little bit. Like, hey, man, you finally got your guy. Is this the one that's finally going to help Mizzou break through this ceiling that they can't seem to get through the last few years? We'll see. That's what's going to be fun when they finally kick off on the 3rd.
Yeah, 11 new starters on defense. How big? I mean, everybody's got a lot of new starters, but that's a lot. How big a concern is that?
I'm just curious how the puzzle is going to come together. So we know the names of the guys that are going to take on the roles, but yeah, I mean, there's a worry there about the lack of production and the lack of consistent experience, right? Like, I mean, the cupboard's not totally bare, right? Santana Banner was a fantastic safety last year. He may not have started, but he played 500 plus snaps last season. So there's a guy with good experience. Nick Rodriguez, who is one of the player reps down here in Tampa, he's going to take over in the middle at linebacker now that Josiah Trotter is off to the NFL. Marquise Gracial in the middle of the defensive line. He was a really good run stopper last season, but, can he add a little bit of pass rush juice? And what is it like if he's going to play 500 snaps as opposed to about 250? And then Darius Smith, the new edge rusher. I shouldn't say new edge rusher. He was kind of the third guy behind Damon Wilson and Zion Young last season. He's a guy that I know Mizzou is very, very excited to see and let loose this year. So, from there, how do they fill in? The secondary, can the linebackers be as good as we think they're going to be? Who else is going to be able to rush the passer or stop the run for them up front? Like there's a lot of pieces and a lot of unknown that makes me a little bit worried. But I'll say this: if you're looking for the benefit of the doubt, Corey Batoon is entering his 3rd year as Mizzou's defensive coordinator. Each of the first 2 years, the defense has ranked in the top 30 nationally. So he has a track record of being able to figure this thing out. So will it come together in time for, when Mizzou hits the SEC schedule at the end of September? I think that remains to be seen, and that's what's really going to make the first 3 weeks really intriguing.
They play 5 of the 6 SEC playoff teams on their schedule. I mean, how much, is that driving the win total being 6.5, which is lower than it's been the last couple of years for Mizzou?
Yeah, it's one on paper right now. It's one of the toughest schedules in the country, right? Because you've got Georgia, you've got A&M, you've got Oklahoma, you've got Ole Miss. Like those 4 teams were in the playoff last year. That's not counting Texas, who might be the preseason number 1 ranked team. And before they even get to all that, Florida has an adult in the room at head coach now in John Summerall. That's a really talented roster. And oh, by the way, at the end of September, they have to go down to Starkville. Mississippi State took both Tennessee and Texas to OT last year at home, and they beat Arizona State, who won the Big 12 a couple years ago. So they're making steps forward with Jeff Lebby at head coach. It's not going to be an easy season, man. So that game in Starkville at the end of September is going to tell me a lot about this Missouri team, and I think it'll set the pace for the rest of the season.
Yeah, that's right. That was, by the way, nice job being super cool about correcting me on that. Texas didn't make the playoffs, did they?
It always seems like they do, right? Because they were in the semifinals a couple years ago, and, Arch Manning, everything seemed possible with that guy behind center, right?
Yeah, Cody Goodwin, not even going to, not even going to put it right. You could have been like, oh, you dumbass. Only 4 of them. But Texas is number 3 in the betting odds to win the national championship this year. So they may not have made it last year, but of course they were up. What were they, number 1 last year? And they ended up disappointing. So we'll see what they end up being. But yeah, it is a bear of a schedule. I mean, it kind of feels like the KU game might be a necessary win to be bowl eligible.
Yeah, it's MUKU. That is the one. That is a game that you circle, you highlight it with a red marker, whatever you got to do. It's a rivalry game. First time Mizzou's going back to Lawrence in 2 decades, if not more than that, right? Because before the 14-year hiatus, they played 7-8 years in Kansas City. So I would look at that game mostly because Kansas is having to fill a lot of holes too. Jalen Daniels is no longer there, and I hate to boil it all the way down to quarterback, but they have a lot of question marks. So I look at that game from the Mizzou lens as more of a pop quiz as opposed to a true test to start the season. But that game in Starkville, that to me is like the first true test for the Tigers this season. Will tell me a lot about what they're made of.
Yeah, we're talking to Cody Goodwin from Power Mizzou here in the program. What do you think? How did you read Eli Drinkwitz? Is it just above his pay grade, or did you think that it sounded like he really would like to keep that KU game on there? They are in a spot in the sense that they're going to add the ninth conference game, which I think is being way overblown. Everybody else does it. I don't think it's near the big deal that all the SEC people are making of it, but they've made it a big deal, so I know it's a big deal for them. But, talking about having the Illinois game and the Kansas game, how do you think it shakes out with, having those? Do they go to every other year? Kansas one year, Illinois the next? Or what do you think it ultimately plays out with how those series end up being maintained?
Yeah, Drinkwitz is open to it. I know Laird Veach is open to it. So, it sounds like the ball is in KU's court. I admittedly have not done enough research to know what they have actually said on it, but Drinkwitz is a college football fan at the end of the day. He wants these regional rivalries to stick. So I think in a perfect world, they alternate. A couple of years they do Kansas, a couple of years they do Illinois. And selfishly, I'm from Kansas City originally. I want to see those two teams play often, especially now that they're more willing to put it back on the schedule. So, fingers crossed that they're able to play on a semi-regular basis. But, between the two bordering states and, the whole SEC Big Ten thing, I think they'll try and line up Illinois as often as they can as well. I think in a perfect world, they'll alternate between Kansas and Illinois as their A4 required opponent.
Or why not play them both? I know they're so terrified that we need a couple of directional schools, but let's be real. Illinois and Kansas, unless you think that they're all got it figured out, Brett Bielema is going to be this tremendous success in Illinois, even though he's been fired, been basically told that we won't give you a raise at Wisconsin and then fired at Arkansas. Unless you think that that's the end-all, be-all at Illinois, and Lance Leipold's about ready to, take off, even though he's been backsliding the last couple of years, why wouldn't you just put them both on there? To me, you get name-brand opponents without ever really having to face a beast.
You can sign me up for that. Like, as a college football fan, I would absolutely love to see Missouri play both of them in the same year. Unless the college football playoff expands to 24 teams, I'm not sure we're going to see that, though.
Do you, are they at a point where they can put rummies in there and still sell them out? Like, I think Kansas, if you're telling me it's in Kansas's court, then I think it's going to get done. I think the Kansas schedule, Central Florida's do not move the needle. Cincinnati doesn't move the needle. Like, I think all the Big 12 schools, Arizona helps, Arizona State can when they're good, Utah, BYU, I think those are good games. But there are also games that are on their schedule now that it's like they're missing the OU and the Texas and the Missouri and the Nebraskas, the rivalry games that were there. So I think that Kansas needs Missouri on their schedule to try to fill their new stadium. Does Missouri need Kansas on its schedule, or will they fill it with McNeese State?
I'm sure that they're still fill it, right? I think they've sold out the last 20-some games, and that's with, the North End Zone project going on too. So they've been about 20,000 fans short of like actual true full capacity. So that'll finally open up this year. I think that'll help quite a bit. That first Thursday night against Pine Bluff, that'll be kind of fun. And then I know the Troy game 2 weeks later, that's when they're actually going to do the real celebration of the 100-year and the unveiling of the North End Zone. But I think really the one to watch will be the Florida game in early October. Like, that'll be, that's supposed to be homecoming. In a perfect world, Mizzou's 4-0 coming back for their SEC home opener. And like I said earlier, Florida's got a pretty talented roster, and they finally have a pretty good coach that I think can take advantage of it. So that's where I think the crowd will need to be pretty raucous and will tell us a lot about if they can keep the sellout streak going.
All right, how much pressure's on Eli Drinkwitz to beat a winning SEC team?
Well, a lot. If ask any Mizzou fan, like they want to see that right now. So that's really been the calling card for Drinkwitz during his, he's entering year 7 now at Mizzou. He beats the teams he's supposed to, but he can't quite beat the teams that he needs to in order to really, push and be part of that playoff conversation and, to a greater extent, part of the SEC championship conversation. And it's only going to get harder with this 9-game schedule and the way that college football is trending with rev share and NIL. Like, it is. It's going to be tough, and that's you remember asking about the pressure question with the quarterback. That's, I think, what makes this season so intriguing. If Simmons can give them some hope that they can finally break through that ceiling, it could change the trajectory of the program. If not, well, this offseason was pretty tough for Mizzou fans because Drinkwitz is having a cup of coffee with a lot of other programs, and that could continue if he can't break through this ceiling.
All right, we're talking to Cody Goodwin here from Power Mizzou, handles the football beat. Time for my final four quickies for you. I'll start you with this. Just right now, we're not going to hold you to this. They got a whole camp. We'll see who's hurt, how Ahmad Hardy looks. But right now, what do you feel the Mizzou record will be?
8-4 sounds about right. I know they have 4 playoff teams plus Texas plus a couple of road games, but Drinkwitz is pretty steady when it comes to his teams, and I think one of those playoff teams will regress a little bit, and maybe that means Mizzou will pick up another win that maybe they're not projected to get right now. So I like 8-4.
Does the SEC break away, whatever the hell that means?
I mean, probably. Like, it's been trending that way for quite a while. Like, it wouldn't shock me. I don't know if it's going to be solely the SEC or if they can maybe cherry pick some of the bigger brands off the Big Ten and entice them with some of that ESPN money. But, I think we're trending towards some form of Super League in the future.
The SEC champ this year will be who?
I really like Texas, man. I'm a believer. I think they'll beat Georgia, and I think that'll be a fun game. But I believe in Arch. Okay.
And finally, how long is Drinkwitz at Mizzou?
That is a really good one. I wish I had a quick answer for that, but I think these next 2 years will be interesting because I'm not sure this following offseason is going to have as much coaching movement as this past offseason did. So maybe ask me again after this season.
Okay, I'll take that. Great stuff. We really appreciate it, Cody. We encourage everybody to check out PowerMizzou.com for all the football coverage there with the Tigers. So look forward to hopefully getting a chance to talk to you on down the road.
Appreciate you having me. Look forward to talking more.
All right, went a little long with Cody Goodwin, but good stuff from him. Like talking to him. No hesitation on anything until I got to the breakaway question. Otherwise, rapid fire. Missouri Tigers 6.5. Their win total 100-1 to win the national championship. Not sure what their playoff odds are, but I'm guessing they're in the 40-1 range. If you're 100-1 to win it all, probably about 40-1. But so much is on Austin Simmons. I mean, to me, that's the answer. If Austin Simmons is the real deal, feel pretty good that they're going to have a strong running game. He can coordinate well a running game, but they need a quarterback that can make him some plays. But okay, this play wasn't called very good, but he hops outside, scrambles around, either runs for a first down or he finds a guy on the move, or he can just, handle the offense, put the ball on time where it needs to go. Then I feel pretty good, but that's a big if. They haven't really found that guy that can play at a super high level yet.
And every time we've talked to a college football guy, DeArmond or Shahan, you always bring up, does Eli Drinkwitz need to find his quarterback? And it sounds like, from everything Cody just told us, going to get coaching staff, coaches from other coaching staffs like Michigan. Sounds like he's really taking it seriously this year.
Yeah. I mean, I think he knows what they need to get over the hump, and he does need to beat a winning SEC team, and I think it's going to happen. It's just a matter you just need to get it done so it's no longer a talking point. So we'll see. Missouri Tigers. Our thanks to Cody Goodwin joining us in our last segment. Our thanks to Frank Bull for joining us next.
All right, when was Noah Cameron's last quality start? Brought to you by Twin Peaks.
Hour number 2 of the program begins right now. The Godfather, Frank Bowl, with us, brought to you by our friends at Applause Custom Sight and Sound, Kansas City's best when it comes to smart home technology, in-home theaters. You want to control everything right there from your smartphone? I can do it because Applause Custom Sight and Sound wired me up at this house. They wired me up at my old house. In fact, they helped me sell my old house, being able to press one button and walk out. Everyone's, ooh, look at all this. It's fun. It's neat. It's great. How about security surveillance? They got
the
that as well.
roof leaks, but everything else is great.
Yeah. Applause Custom Sight and Sound. Don't say that because Joe Spiker at Eastern Roofing
I know it doesn't.
is up on my roof, and it does not leak. I will tell you that right now. So thank you to Joe. So a little side plug to Eastern Roofing, but Applause is great. Go see him if you want some true smart home technology, a true in-home theater. I'm not going to tell you, but their client list is impressive, and it's not because of me.
That's it. Security.
Actual, real impressive
you get security, too, on it, which is
I do.
nice.
You want to know what's going on in my house right now?
Not really, but if you want
let's
to,
look.
Cat set the alarms off or something. Stray deer in the neighborhood.
There will never be a time that I own a cat.
It doesn't have to be yours. Okay. It could be one of the neighbors.
You know what's going on in my house? Nothing.
Nothing, which is good.
Nothing is going on in my house.
That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. I'll take it.
Perfect.
I'll take it.
Perfect.
But you think I'm kidding? There it is.
Yeah.
All right, let's welcome Frank Bull here. Frank, how are you?
I'm great.
Yeah.
How are you doing? Everything's good?
Cooler weather coming the next couple of days. That's nice.
Survived soccer, which is all right. It's gone, done now, and
I
think we did.
I thrived in soccer more than I survived it. I really enjoyed it.
I loved it. I thought it was great. I'm with you. I just threw that out there, but I thought it was terrific.
Yeah.
I think the city did a terrific job. The only glitch was that first game, and it's because FIFA figured opening just 2 gates at Arrowhead was
because FIFA.
Plenty.
Not only are they crooked, but they're dumb.
It's plenty. What do you mean 2 gates? Well, we do this for Chiefs games every Sunday in the fall, and we sort of have more than 2 gates open, which is, helps with traffic.
Right.
We can do it with 2. Don't worry about a thing.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
But after that, glitch free.
By the way, in the sports world, has anybody been oilier than that FIFA president guy?
Nope.
You ever come across anybody that you're just like, you shake his hand, you better check and see if your ring's still on your hand. Like, you may where'd my class ring go? What the hell happened?
He's at all these giant games, no expression. None.
Just sitting there. I think the no expression's better because when he does have an expression, it's the most fake, cheesy smile I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I read a thing that he demands that they cut to him during the game.
Oh, you're kidding me.
No, that's part of the broadcast thing is you got to cut to him.
Oh, my God.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go.
So
yeah. Good thing, Fox, that you were listening.
You know what I thought was neat was I'm sorry I don't have her name in front of me, maybe Kyle or Thunderdome may know it off the top of his head, but the lady who anchored the coverage, blonde British lady who she actually works for NBC and anchors their EPL coverage, and Fox called them and said, hey, can we borrow her? Because she does a great job. We want her on the broadcast. And they're like, yeah.
Yeah, she's good. I remember watching.
How come TV networks can kind of get along like that?
Not sure.
Hey, rotten hell, pay your own person.
Rebecca Lowe?
Right. Yeah, was that her name? Yeah. I thought she did a really good job. But I saw her on a talk show interview, and she was talking about that. She was on set with EPL, or I think it was EPL. It was during the last EPL season, and English Premier League for people who aren't familiar with that
she's
term.
A huge England fan.
Well, she's a fan of, what did she say? She's a huge fan of the English team.
Of the English.
But her EPL team is a turd. Was it West Ham? She might be a West Ham fan. Anyway, and she's just talking about, you're born into it. You don't get to just pick, it's just stuck on you. And she was very entertaining to hear her talk about it. But she said she was on the set doing EPL stuff, and the big boss comes down, and she's like, I'm getting Ryan Clark'd. I'll get to that story in a minute if you don't know that story.
I know that.
I'm out. What the hell? And, they got done with whatever the segment was, or maybe it was the whole show, and the boss walks over to her, and she's like, this is it. I am getting fired right here.
What'd I say? What'd I do?
And he goes, well, what are you doing this summer? And she's like, can we just, and she goes, in my head, I'm just like, can we just do it? Like, what are we going to play games about it? Just fire me already. And he goes, because Fox, what?
I got the audio.
Oh, yeah,
from the late night talk show.
Yeah. Play this.
Was that
this
Corden?
no, it was
Seth Meyers.
It was
Seth Meyers. Okay,
yeah.
never mind. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, now it won't play. Hold on.
Quick, go to me. I got it.
Anticipation.
It's like Curtis is here. You know?
Do both. How did you find out that you were going to get to do this gig?
Yeah, I never dreamt I could ever do this because I was under the impression that you couldn't work for two networks. So it was about 15 months ago, Seth, and I was on air on a regular Sunday of the Premier League, and my boss, Sam, came in. And it's not unusual that he comes in. My boss, Sam, is wonderful, but he does have that boss aura, so you're always a bit on your toes when he comes in. Had a nice little chit-chat, and then he said to me, just turned to me, and he said, can I have a word? And I thought, well, that's it. I'm done. I mean, did I swear? Did I do something? So he took me to the other side of the studio, turned me around to have my back to my other guys on the show, said, can you turn off your mic? And I just, at this point, it's over. My career in America, we're done. And he just sort of said very quietly, just so you know, Brad at Fox Sports has called us this week and asked to borrow you for the World Cup. And then he paused, at which point my entire life shifted on its axis. And he said, and we said yes. Honestly, that is a moment that I thought somebody was having a joke. I thought they were taking the mickey. I was pinching myself. And then he said, unless you've got a big vacation plan for the summer.
I mean, how great is that story?
Thought somebody was having a Mickey.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, just the way she tells it with the accent and everything. But I thought a couple things were great about it. One, NBC understanding that, you're promoting our product. This is our talent. And we don't have anything for her to do right then. And so why wouldn't we have our talent go showcase her abilities and the whole world see her? Mm-hmm. And, it's an advertisement for our coverage of the English Premier League. Then when we put an EPL ad up there and you see her face, like, oh, that's the gal that anchored all the shows there during the World Cup. Mm-hmm. It makes her World Cup caliber. Yeah. And now you carry that back to the EPL.
Right, it brings more credibility to your product.
Yeah. And kudos to Fox for saying, well, we're going to go get the best. And the best is over there. I mean, we can't hire her away. Maybe they did try or something. But, like, okay, we're going to bring her in and have her on the show. I thought that was a really cool story about how that all came down.
Yeah, I do, too. I think she was great. It was funny because it was early on in the World Cup. And she was the one who was on with Zlatan and
Thierry Henry.
Yeah, and Thierry Henry, right?
And the much maligned
Alexi Lawless at the end. So they're there. So she's asking, okay, who are the greatest players in this World Cup? Give me your top 5 players in the World Cup. And of course, Zlatan goes, Zlatan was number one, and then he goes down Messi and, Mbappe and all that. So he was funny. Sometimes he got a little overbearing, but I thought he was pretty funny too. Thierry's a little tough to understand, but he had great insight. And of course, Alexi Lawless is just sort of matter of fact. He just sort of.
I've always thought that he, in the past, like I remember being down in Brazil, I remember thinking he did a good job.
Oh, I thought he did a good job. He's always the last one to answer anything. Okay, he always, go ahead, you guys talk. And
well, I think there's an element of like, you two are stars.
Yeah.
And I think there's a bit of knowing your place when you're on the set with those guys.
Yeah.
And those are two of the best.
Yeah, right. Well, he's pretty big.
Lexi Lawless?
Yeah,
no, not globally. No, he had his 5 minutes of fame in this country, but he was nothing compared to those guys.
Oh no, I agree with that. There's no doubt about that. But he was still a pretty good player in his own right. So.
But yeah, I guess he rubbed a bunch of people the wrong way. I don't know. I didn't. He didn't rub me. He didn't rub me wrong. There was the one time when he wasn't there. Like, okay, Lexi Lawless is doing this, and Zlatan goes, "You are welcome, America." Like, he was made it pretty clear that it's like, I didn't want him here either.
I don't care.
Get him out of here. So
you have me. Okay. You have enough.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought the coverage, and I give credit to them because their pregames are like 2 hours. Like, they'd come on and go and go and go, and then they'd come on afterwards. Good. I think the post game is still going on. I think there's still people in the Giant Stadium right now.
That's right.
Like still taking pictures with the Spanish team or something like.
Well,
it went on for like over 3 hours.
They were back the next day, I think, weren't they? They were back in Spain like a few hours later when they were done. It seemed like to me because they had that giant celebration.
Well, I just mean that thing went on for like 3 hours.
Yeah,
afterwards.
I know. They definitely did.
I watched the end of it. Went and did my Kaufman Corner podcast. Changed clothes. Went to a party. Got to that party, and the damn thing was still going on. I was like, oh, okay.
Ads.
This isn't exactly. The NFL post game is like, and coming up the such and such post game show, and they come back and they go, well, that's going to do it for us. Like,
that's right. 60 minutes is next.
Yeah, we got to get out. Like, no. We're going like 3 hours on this bad. But no, it was the Super Bowl, and they do. But even like Super Bowl post games on the network that carries it, it's like, they might do 45 minutes, and then it's off to ESPN or NBC Sports Network or CBS Sports Network. Like, they don't sit there for an hour and a half with post game.
No.
On even the Super Bowl, and they were going like 3 hours later.
Well, I think a lot of it had to do with revenue. To fill those commercial breaks, those water breaks, those hydration breaks that was a money-making miracle for those guys.
Yeah.
And somebody was talking about today, well, I think they won't do those anymore. I said, you got to be kidding me. 4 years from now, they might go, well, we're going to take at least a 10-minute hydration break, okay, each half.
The hydration break is here to stay in all of soccer.
Oh, yeah.
At least all major tournaments.
I hope VAR's gone. That was a pain.
I think you've done. Listen, it's all about, is it clear and obvious? And
yeah,
if it's not, if you can't figure it out in 2 minutes, it's not clear and obvious. So stay with the call on the field.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not that hard.
The other thing for me too, in the final game, there was a lot less flopping. You know what I mean? It was the guys were getting hit. I mean, that's an extremely physical game. And there were guys that could have gone down and stayed down for a real reason instead of flopping. There was a lot less flopping in the championship game. That's seen almost the whole time.
Was it the Swiss winger who got tossed? Help me out. Who got the yellow for the flop against Argentina? It was a Swiss guy, wasn't it? Who was that? What was his name?
Brill Mbolo.
Yeah, when Mbolo went down and he'd picked up a yellow earlier and he got the yellow for the flop, they're like, oh, they're serious.
Yeah.
They're serious.
They have to do something about it. Yeah.
But it's too bad the Argentinian guy who got the red card. I mean, the
double yellow right away.
The first yellow was terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just dumb. He pushed a guy down twice right in front of the ref.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, now you're on a yellow. Now you make one challenge and you take the guy out.
And you're down to 10 guys. And you haven't done anything.
They weren't going to win anyway, I don't think. Unless they got the PKs. But
you know what? I think they sort of knew, too. That, man, if we can get the PKs, then they go down to 10 guys, and they're still holding them out. And the goalie was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
He was just incredible. He made some fantastic saves.
I want to ask you about the ESPN NFL Network layoffs that are going on as we speak. By the way, it's nice to know that, like, even, teams can't keep their mouth shut, neither can networks.
No.
The Ryan Clark thing gets out and is published in multiple places. I was sitting here watching.
He's on the air.
He was on the air, and then somebody's like, I read a story, Ryan Clark's fired. I'm like, they must have taped this like 4 hours ago. No, I didn't realize. He read the same story I was reading on his phone, or somebody sent it to him. And he's like, am I fired? And they're like, well, we were going to tell you tomorrow. Well, then I'm out.
Yeah, he walked out.
I'm not finishing this thing.
Yep.
And he got out of there. But, I mean, it is so annoying. Like, I'm going to tell you, having been part of the, back in the day, till I came here 22 years ago, being part of the big conglomerate thing.
Yep.
Oh, it's going to be better for the consumer. It's going to be better because we can share the costs and everything. And all they do is cut.
Yeah.
I mean, is the football coverage better with Tom Pelissero and Ryan Clark? And Ryan Clark pissed some people off when he got into that whizzing match with the guy from one of the guys from Good Morning Football. And he's like, "Did you play the game?" I'm like, that was insulting.
Yeah.
But you kept him around. Like, people are like, that was a big part of why he's out. Well, that was like 6 months ago. Way to jump right on it. I mean, maybe that was like, okay, when it comes to cuts, he's not going to make it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, if we're going to cut somebody, he's going to be it. But he worked a lot for ESPN. I don't know how much he made, but he worked a lot. and because he would be on Van Pelt every Sunday night.
They're making a lot of money.
He would be on Get Up a couple times a week during the football season. He would do the NFL shows. He had a podcast with an MMA guy. I guess he's a big MMA guy, and he did a lot of work for them, and they let him go. And I'm like, if you didn't fire, it was bad what he did. But if you didn't think he was bad enough to fire him then,
yeah, why'd you wait so long?
I just think, they fired Charles Davis, they fired Tom Pelissero, they fired Carl Ravitch.
Ravitch is gone, yeah.
Which was 50-50 chance. I don't know if he knew it, but it's probably not the right day to make a joke at that point. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
When 2 years ago, when the SEC had their big year in basketball, and they were rolling, and it was like February, and was he on? He was on someone's show, wasn't he?
I think that was in the middle of the game.
Was it in the middle of the game,
Yeah.
or was it post game or something? Maybe
It may have been.
It might have been a post game or in between games or something. And everyone was, it's like the SEC. I don't know if people remember, but they had a whole bunch of really good teams. Like Alabama was really good, and they were like the Big 12 last year. They had like 4 of the top 7, at one point, and they were just rolling. And Ravitch goes, well, since the first of the year, the SEC overall is 27-27. They're 500. And he put it out on. Did he say it, or he just put it on Twitter?
I remember it being an audio cut that we.
It was an audio cut.
Yeah.
And so the place, everyone's like, "Hey, dumbass, it's SEC against SEC. Every conference is 500 right now. One team wins, one team loses." And then he doubles down on Twitter. He goes on to Twitter and says, well, I don't think people are understanding what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about for how great the SEC was to start. Of late, they're only 500 as a conference. And then that just lit another way where everyone's like, no, you are the one who does not understand.
He's like me with math.
And I feel bad because I'm like, I remember when that light bulb came on. I remember going around school going, what's the average record of an NFL team? I don't know, like 10-6. I'm like, no, it's 8-8, you dumbass. When that light bulb turned on, I was like, I have split an atom. I have solved the Rubik's Cube. I have landed on the moon. Did you know? Ma, I don't know if I was in the 3rd grade or the 10th grade. I don't know how old I was, but I know it was long before I was earning a check. And the fact that was such a mystery to him, and he, I think he even tried again, like, no, you're not getting it. And people are like, somebody, I think from ESPN probably said, Carl, just stop.
Yeah.
You made the mistake.
You can't even quit while you're ahead now. Just shut up.
Yeah, you made the mistake. So it does seem like it's like there is a little bit of, you got it?
I got the clip.
Okay, this is what he said originally, right?
We know how dominant they were in the non-conference season, the SEC. They were 185-23. Since January 4 into Tuesday, the SEC teams are 82-82. It's not as if one team or 2 teams or 3. They're 82-82. Like, there's been no ability to pull away. There's no dominant group of teams.
It's worse than I thought. He even says the non-con.
Right.
There's no dominant group of teams. Like, what? Sure there is. Alabama's like 12-2 right now, and, like that even wasn't accurate. It wasn't like every team out there was 8-8 in the league at that point. So it feels a little bit like there was a little Michael Corleone. Like, today we settle all family business. Clark, your comments sucked. You're out. Ravitch, your comments sucked. You're out.
Yeah. Plus, it is, what is the fiscal year is like right now, right? Fiscal year starts on July 1st.
Oh, I don't know.
Right. Well, so you get halfway through the year and the new fiscal
Why does
year
it start on July 1st?
It's like halfway through or something. The new year starts on January, and then the new fiscal year starts on
They're like,
July.
okay, this is when all the football spending comes around.
Well, this is when we're going to have to try to figure out what we're going to do for football season coming up.
But do you think ESPN and NFL Network's coverage is going to be better now because with the two of them working together? No.
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 Not at all.
Absolutely not. And they're cutting people.
Yep.
And I already sit and ponder why the NFL Network isn't better. Like when they started, I'm like, okay, you should have 32, like every week, It should be Hard Knocks every week of every season with every team.
Yeah.
Like you should have, here's this week's episode of the Chiefs and this week's, and here's what's going on. Like, how are they not
right? And who's
pumping out just a mountain of content? And somebody said to me, well, they're doing that on their websites. Yeah, well, they're not making the money that they would on. And if you're like, well, but the Chiefs want it on their website so they can make the money. Trust me, having the Jets and Giants and Cowboys and 49ers and Bears and the Patriots on NFL Network and sharing alike, that money is going to make you a lot more money than whatever they're selling KCChiefs.com for.
Yeah.
So if the Chiefs are standing in the way of that, that's dumb. There's a reason why they don't have their own rights to games. Nobody's complained about that in the small market world because you're making a lot more money because the big teams are the ones that are the draws. And it's the same thing with NFL Network. So you would want all the products on NFL Network.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why they don't have that. They've never really, all they do are a couple of talking head shows like every time they hire somebody, it's somebody who was fired by ESPN.
Yeah, who's the guy that is has been forever? The Dallas Cowboys. Really, that's kind of
Ed.
Yeah, and he's the one guy you see all the time. Well, let's do the Cowboys, and here's boom. Okay,
Yeah.
it's right. I can see him. I just can't remember his name. But that should be for every team. The way he covers Dallas for the network, that guy, he should be for every team. They should have somebody like that for every team.
Isn't his first name Ed?
I think
I used to interview him at. He used to be at Tahoe because they'd set him up.
Yeah, I left my phone here.
Ed Werder, is that who it is?
Ed Werder. That's
Yeah.
exactly who it is. Yeah.
Well, and Sal Palantonio is basically the Philly guy.
Philly guy, but there's only a couple you can really bring up. You know, I don't know.
Well,
Seattle
Network
guy
uses Chidilla a lot.
Yeah, I know, but he'll jump
for
from
Chief
team
stuff.
to team.
Yeah, he does, but they come
Right.
to him for Kansas City.
Yeah, and then he should be the Kansas City guy. You know what I mean? See, he's.
By the way, Ed Werder left ESPN at 24.
Yeah.
Well, he got fired by them a long time ago. Then they brought him back, and then
And Sal Pal has been in Philly forever too, but they should have a guy like that for every team. Somebody who's very recognizable and somebody who's been covering the team for years. That particular team, no matter how good or how bad they are.
yeah. I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of do that with the the beat guys on ESPN.com.
Yeah, but that's
they'll throw them on.
ESPN.com. It's not. You don't see them as much. You know what I
Right.
mean?
No. Well, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Well, the only things that they want to talk about on ESPN are the Cowboys.
Yeah, I realize that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Dude. Their third corner's contract's up. It's fascinating.
I saw a screenshot from yesterday, Ryan Clark's appearance on one of those shows. The bottom graphic, are the Cowboys real contenders? I'm dead serious. That's what they were talking about yesterday.
And tomorrow morning on Get Up, if he's not on vacation, Mike Greenberg will tell you it's fascinating. Fascinating what's going on with the Cowboys. I like Mike Greenberg, but many things fascinate that man.
Yes.
He finds many, many things fascinating.
Yeah.
More than I do. I will tell you that. But yeah, I think it sucks because I think they're just going to blend NFL Network and ESPN together, and we're going to get. Really, I think they're just going to castrate NFL Network.
Oh yeah.
That's what they're going to do.
Yep.
And I think the owners were dumb to do that. I think the owners wouldn't put $1 into that network to make it really what it could be.
To make it work, to be their own deal. They could have done it. They got the power.
Well, they got the money.
And they got the money too. Well, power, money. Same deal.
Yeah, well, that's
Same
a
deal.
good point.
Yeah,
that is a good point. But yeah, so Ryan Clark finds out on the air.
Stuff happens. Wonder why they are, Clive. Wonder what the bottom line is money, obviously. But I just wonder what has happened that they've got to start dumping all these guys right now.
I don't know. They've really. I don't like the model. Like when they ran off, their first go round was 10 or 12 years ago. When they started firing people, and they fired the Jason Starks and they really, to me, sabotaged their website a lot because it used to be the go-to place. And now they just want to have 3 or 4 guys making a ton of money. And they think that's going to cover. And I'm sure there's a formula to it. And I'm sure people are going to tell me, Jeff Passan said to me, listen, the company's worth this, I think they know a little bit of what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I do think they know a little bit of what they're doing. I think they know a lot of what they're doing. But I also think every decision is made virtually on every company in this country on making $1 tomorrow instead of making $100 next year.
Yeah. They don't want to wait.
I mean, the ESPN site gets way less traffic for me. I've unbookmarked a lot of my stuff because they don't cover things the way they used to. I mean, like, I'll tell you what else is asinine. World Cup. You had to go to the More Sports to find coverage of the World Cup on the worldwide leader.
Extra Sports.
And I'm a fan of ESPN. I'm not an ESPN hater. I like a lot of their people on there. I think are really talented people. But I mean, come on, you're the world. Put the World Cup on the front page.
Was it above or below the Tour de France? And the Open, the British Open. Yeah.
No, but you had to go to the three dots and drop down.
And
I'm like,
down, yeah.
come on,
Heck
for
yeah.
God's sake! Like if you go to the Score app, they like whatever big event is going on, they add it up top.
Up top, and you can go to it and then get all the scores.
So you go to leagues, and like right now, it still has up there. World Cup final, they haven't taken down. World Cup final, and Ryan Fox wins the Open. So, but the Open and World Cup were up there. Oh, no, it just, my thing. It's the first time I've opened it since the weekend, so now it's gone. But above the My Leagues, they'll put up whatever the biggest thing going is to get you. You want to go to it, it's right here. Because this is not something you're normally following, so we're going to put it right up here so you can get it if you want it.
Yeah.
College World Series, whatever it is.
Just one other thing is what do you think about them now moving all the soccer is in the same season? MLS season is going to be just like the
I talked with some soccer folks this morning, as a matter of fact.
Help or hurt?
I didn't cover that deal. My personal opinion is it will help.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the MLS has reached a point where they now are a much more attractive destination for talent all over the world, but it's a bitch when you play the opposite, because you get a guy who just finished a full season over there and now jump in, it's 100 degrees, and go play another half a season.
Yeah.
And I think that has hurt them. They have to overpay to get players. Number one, they're not used to playing in the summer. The summer is reserved for once every 4 years or Champions League or different things like that when they've got some tournaments going on. But for the most part, everyone else plays fall to spring.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you're playoffs, if you're going to be a playoff league, which the MLS, that's the one thing they don't do, like everybody else, they conform to everything else, the clock going down, ties, all that stuff. But they have not conformed with we're just going to have whoever wins the standings wins. That's how it is. They don't do playoffs.
Yeah.
They're like, we have playoffs. It's called Champions League. And it's called you play well enough in these standings to qualify for these other tournaments. And those are your playoffs. You go do that. The MLS wants playoffs. And so if you want playoffs, I don't think your playoffs should be smack dab opposite the NFL season.
Right.
I would much rather go up against baseball and, NBA playoffs.
NHL.
NHL playoffs. I think that's a better spot to put your playoffs. And so, yes, I think in the long run, it will help them get talent.
Yeah.
And I think it will give them more exposure for their playoffs.
They have to somehow get some of these young up-and-coming players instead of getting like a Messi at the end of his career, Beckham at the end of his career, things like that. Like some of these young, really good players, the problem is going to be money.
The problem is the money.
The money is going to be.
And I don't think those guys like the retirement. I'll take the big check and come by here and pad my stats and put some, look like a hero again, play in the lesser league, and come down. But I think as the league grows, they'll eventually get there. It's going to be interesting because nobody else around the world plays with a salary cap. And this salary cap, I'm almost of the opinion they need to punt the salary cap or they need to harden the salary cap. But this salary cap plus 3 guys you can spend whatever you want on.
Yeah.
And Miami can go spend part of the reason why Miami's so successful, do you know what the part of how that team came to fruition?
Mm-mm.
When David Beckham came over to play for the LA Galaxy, he got a bunch of money. I think he got $25 million. He was one of the first really high-paid guys. And he got the right to buy an MLS franchise, to start an MLS franchise for $25 million. At a time, and how long's Inter Miami been around? 5 years? 4 years?
A little longer.
Oh, really? Okay, I'm thinking 4 or 5 years. I mean, right now, so David Beckham got to put together the ownership group for Inter Miami.
Mm-hmm.
$25 million was the cost. He's in for 25% of it. So that means he came out of pocket for what, $6.5 million? It's 8 years old. So he came out of pocket for $6.5 million. But he got the right to bring a franchise in for $25 million. When franchises were probably going for $250, $300 million, he got to start Miami for $25. And you know what it's worth right now?
Close to $1 billion, probably.
$1.335 billion. And his stake is worth over $350 million.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
They've got to be the most.
I mean, he had a $5-6 million investment. I think he's a 25% owner. A $5 or $6 million investment that's now worth $335.
That has to be the
or $350.
Yeah, that has to be the biggest in the league, right? MLS.
I think Miami might be.
Even
I mean, the New York
LA?
clubs, the LA clubs are probably worth a lot, but
Man,
I mean,
Nice
Sporting
investment.
Kansas City when last year Peter Maluk bought controlling interest, the
Mhm.
valuation and the amount he bought would put the total value of Sporting Kansas City at $770 million.
Wow, almost $1 billion.
And think
$750 million.
think in terms of what is it, Cerner? I was going to put Cerner guys buy Wizards.
Cliff Illig
They bought
and Yul Patterson.
2010. See if we can get a price here. But I want to say $10 million. Was it $10 million for the Wizards? I mean,
Couldn't have been much.
no, and it's now valued at $770 million.
It's a good investment. It's like buying a baseball team or own an NFL team.
Yeah. Let me just add price. But yes, it is. I mean, it's the valuations though, because I think people see that where the league is headed. Every story is about the Maluk purchase.
Yeah.
When you put in price, maybe somebody in there did. Oh, by the way, Illig Patterson Group bought it for. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, if you can afford a sports team, I would highly encourage you buying one.
To join up. That's why I think John Sherman has so many partners in his too, because this guy's all going, okay, can I sort of latch on here and defray the cost for you a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, so it's impressive.
Yep,
it's impressive to say the least.
Good stuff.
Let's get to the bottom of some Frank opinions. We'll do that next. The Godfather of Kansas City Sports, Frank Bowl, is here. He's brought to you by our friends at Applause Custom Sight and Sound.
The program with Soren Petro.
Curtis always likes a little boutte, I can tell you that.
Oh, yeah,
for
sure.
Shake it. Weekdays from 2 to 6 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, listen up. Do you have your dream outdoor living space? If you don't, let All Weather Decks build it. You know, they're only 6 or 7 weeks away from starting your project. That's right, 6 or 7 weeks. Basically, what they're waiting on is the permits. Once they have the permits in hand, they have the manpower. Multiple crews working all over the metro, even beyond what most people would call the metro. If you go to allweatherdecks.net, you can see the map links with all the pin drops where they have done jobs, hundreds, maybe even thousands of jobs. More than 15 years, locally owned and operated. They're Kansas City's most decorated outdoor living space builder. 24-time winner of the Angie Super Service Award. A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. They build great outdoor living spaces. I know. They built our space. They did a phenomenal job, and they'll do a great job for you. Great customer service, great craftsmanship. No project is too big. All Weather Decks can build it for you. Just call. You got to get the process started. Call 913-206-1974. That's 913-206-1974. Their website is a great place to get information. Great photos of finished projects. You can see all the awards they've won. That map link where they've done all the jobs, it's all right there at allweatherdecks.net. Go there and get a lot of answers. You can even get an estimate started right there. Listen, don't you want to be able to entertain for family and friends? Increase the usable square footage of your home. Increase the value of your home by building a great outdoor living space. No matter whether it's a porch, an all-seasons room, a deck, a patio, you name it, they build it, and they build it better than anyone else. They'll start sooner. They'll finish it faster. Most importantly, they'll build it better than anyone else. It's All Weather Decks. Go online to allweatherdecks.net and relax.
Men, if your energy is down, your workouts aren't producing results, you're gaining stubborn weight, losing muscle, sleeping poorly, or just not feeling like yourself anymore, it may be more than just aging. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. Our low T and body composition treatments are designed to help men regain energy, improve focus, sleep better, build lean muscle, reduce unwanted fat, and restore confidence both in and out of the gym. At Heartland Men's Health, we specialize in helping men optimize their health, performance, and vitality. Using personalized medical treatments tailored to your health and goals, many men begin noticing improvements in energy, mental clarity, recovery, motivation, libido, and overall body composition within just a few weeks. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, PSA and T-test, and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844
Some shit.
All right, the Twin Peaks end of the hour answer. When was Noah Cameron's last quality start?
1986 is what it feels like.
It'd been a while.
I mean, he was on a roll to start the year, just like
And that's about when it ended. They all caught up to him, I think.
May 15th.
Close. Nah, actually not really. June 7th.
Okay. Not good. That's what you're telling me.
No, that is suboptimal.
Yeah. Him struggling again is a problem. It's always a problem for Frank Bull when we play Frank Opinions because I generally kick his ass.
Hey!
Let the ass kicking begin.
Frank's ahead in the aggregate right now.
Well, you what? Hold on. Hold
one.
my beer.
By one.
And we'll see where we are now. Okay.
Where did these come from, by the way?
These are my questions, Frank. So blame me.
Okay. All right. Ready to rock. TikTok.
All right, first one. Missouri football will finish the year ranked in the top 10, ranked in the top 25, or unranked.
The combination of anti-Mizzou sentiment from KU and K-State fans coupled with the pessimism that every Mizzou fan is born with says unranked is the answer for me.
Unranked.
That is actually wrong. It is ranked in the top 25.
Ooh, okay.
Whoa.
I'll go with that got 48%. 3 choices.
47.
51.3. Give that one to Soren Thunderdome.
I think you can figure that out.
Okay, I'm just making sure. He's never kept score before.
Well, I got
He doesn't
score
look that
too.
nervous. Don't worry about it. You know what? You have to. He talks too much. I mean, you know what I mean?
Thunderdome?
He's too chatty.
No,
I mean,
he talks
he's
just
always,
the right amount. He talks just the right amount. We had this conversation the other day. He
zero.
has nailed it. iPhone doesn't talk enough. Thunderdome talks just the right amount. And many an intern has talked way too much.
Nervous.
No, he reads the room well.
Okay. All right.
Get off his ass, Frank.
Hey, Thunderdome, shut up.
All right, number 2. Sticking with Missouri football. They will finish in the what of the SEC? Got 4 choices. Top 3, top 6, top 9, or less than 9th?
Top 9.
Yeah, top 9.
That is correct. Number?
Frank?
I'll say, how many were there? 3?
4.
4. Okay, I'll still say 48%.
No, I think they're all on that. 49.
49.3.
Oh, wow. Threaded the needle on you, Frank. That was a good number, buddy.
I hate this game.
I mean, you still lost, but good number.
Shut up. You win, Thunderdome.
Same question with Kansas football.
No
top
way.
3, top 6, top 9, or less than 9th in the Big 12?
I'm going to say less than 9th.
God, they are down there. There's 16 of them. Yeah, I'm going to go less than 9th because there's just too many predictions that have them down like at 14.
Number?
Okay, I'll go with 44%.
45.
41.
Oh. It's terrible.
Tough start for Frank. Same question.
Hey, did I ask you?
Sorry. Same question.
Shut up, Kyle.
Same question, but with Kansas State. Top 3, top 6, top 9, less than 9th in the Big 12.
Oh, boy, brand new coach.
Top 3, top
6.
6, 7 to 9, and then outside the 9?
Mm-hmm.
I'll say 7 and 9.
No, you've bombed that one. It's just a matter of can I get it right. It's either 3 to 6 or it's either 4 to 6 or top 3. They're 4th in the odds makers. They have an easy schedule. I'll go top 6.
That is correct. 37%. All right, moving off of college football, going to the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes will be cleared to participate in training camp. Yes or no?
Yes.
In training camp. That's how you put it, just in training camp. Not the beginning of training camp or
just sometime in training camp.
Oh,
right?
yeah. The fans want it to be true. They're Americans. That means it will be true. Whatever you want, we just make it true. So, therefore, yes, absolutely.
Number?
Frank?
80.
81.
79.
Yes! Thank you very much.
I was just committed to what they went the perfect game. So I went, shh. Don't say anything.
It's tough to go undefeated. Okay, so just cool it.
God, I was committed to whatever you said, I was going to go higher. Such a good number on your part, Frank. Good job.
All right, sticking with the Chiefs, I'm not sure about this question. Tony Gonzalez is the all-time leader in receiving yards among tight ends with 15,127. Travis Kelce enters the year with 13,002, third all-time. Will he catch Tony G?
No.
He's how far back?
He has 13,002. Tony G has 15,127.
No, he's not getting there.
No.
Number?
Not gonna make it.
He's only 45 behind Jason Witten for second.
I know, but it's
he'll
another
get there.
couple thousand to Tony,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been what about 820 and 850 each of the last 2 years.
And they're probably thinking a lot that this
So
is
basically, he needs 3 years
Yeah,
at the pace he's been
not-
going of late.
No, this is going to be his last year.
So how did you phrase it? What percentage am I figuring here?
Will he catch him?
And we said no.
You both said no.
And it's just yes, no.
Yes, no.
No is 69%.
68.
94.4.
Oh my God! You got to be kidding me! Good Lord!
Not a lot of confidence in Trav, huh?
I guess not.
Is he back from the honeymoon yet? Any chance he's listening right now? They're
Yeah.
doubting you, Kelsey.
There were TMZ posted photos that he's back at his football job. That was the caption. His football job.
Okay.
Where'd they go? Anybody
idea.
know?
No,
I don't know.
Okay,
We'll
never
probably find out with Grunny tomorrow.
Okay.
Sticking with the
Why?
Chiefs.
Why was Grunny know?
Grunny seemed to be the Taylor Swift Travis Kelce wedding insider.
Oh, was he? Okay. All right.
Yeah, because he was giving us reports on who was dancing.
Oh, yeah. Yes, because, yeah.
Where did you find this info? Anyways,
Everyone seemed to know that Pat was dancing.
sticking with the Chiefs, Kenneth Walker will have how many receiving yards this season? Over 450 or under 450?
Wow, the betting line is $2.99 and
I
a
know.
half.
I raised it.
You raised it. Okay. Over or under 450?
I'll go under.
I'll go under as well.
Number?
Frank?
My turn.
Yeah.
65.
66.
64.
Yes.
Oh, God. Man, your number's been
Snuck
quality,
another
Frank.
one. Snuck another one in.
All right, sticking with the Chiefs. Mansour Delane will have how many interceptions this year?
Oh gosh.
Under 1.5, over 1.5.
Over 1.5. They'll be optimistic.
They will be optimistic, but let me tell you something. I've got a number like that for what is it? Yeah, tonight we're going to do our over-unders on defense, and I've got Mansour Delane. I've got a 2.5 because the Chiefs interception leader. You know, have you seen? Not only are interceptions much scarcer to come by,
they are.
And even takeaways much scarcer to come by, but listen to this. I'll give you. Here are their INT leaders of. Screw you. 2 for Jalen Watson. He's telling me hurry up. 3 for Jaden Hickson, 24. 2 for L'Jarius Sneed in 23. 3 for L'Jarius Sneed and Juan Thornhill in 22. 3 for Tyrann Mathieu and 6 for Tyrann Mathieu in 2020. You got to go back to 2020 and Tyrann Mathieu to get to more than 3.
Oof.
So will they go over? Yes, I say over. He says over.
That is correct. Number?
It's just over or under?
Mm-hmm.
79%.
78.
66.
Oh, crap.
You squeeze one more in, right?
All right, screw it. Let's do it. Yes or no? Will you go see the Odyssey in theaters?
Yes.
Yes.
The answer is no.
Oh my
Ooh.
gosh.
Frank?
I want to see that. I'll say 60.
59.
69%.
Yes!
Oh, man. I still won 5-4. Eat it.
Now we're even.
What do we got now?
We're
Thunderdome?
even.
All right. Seren is leading 14-10-4.
I don't care about
Okay.
that.
That's the important one.
And then is a tie.
162 to
162.
162.
Oh, wow.
Woo.
and I had you on the ropes. You got too late to just hang in there at a tie.
Did it.
How stupid am I in current events? Pretty stupid. We'll find out for sure. We'll play What in the World, Seren, next. All right, Frank, what in the world? What do you got for me?
All right, here we go. Usha Vance, who's the wife of the Vice President J.D. Vance, she gave birth to her fourth child. She's the first Vice President's wife to give birth while in office since when?
Wow, God, I wouldn't even know. Jefferson.
1876, Ulysses S. Grant's VP.
Wow.
His wife gave birth.
Okay.
Andy Burnham is the UK's latest prime minister. How many PMs has the UK had in the last decade?
4.
7.
Wow.
I didn't realize. I went, what? Judge temporarily blocked a merger between these two movie giants because of monopoly concerns.
Is it Paramount and it's Paramount and somebody, right?
MGM
and
Warner Brothers.
Oh, I wasn't even close.
Yeah. Okay, and what's being avoided on the produce aisles in your local supermarkets?
Lettuce. Lettuce.
I have to leave. I have to go to the men's room right now. Okay, see you.
Oh, explosive.
All right, how many players in Major League Baseball history have recorded 2,000 plus hits, 350 plus homers, and 10 plus Gold Gloves? Brought to you by La Feta Delicatessen.
Let's talk to Sam McDowell, columnist for your Kansas City Star. Sam joins us each and every week here in the program. Sam, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
Doing great. No complaints. And, weather's going to cool off for a couple of days here on Thursday and Friday. Looking forward to that. Well, it's going to rain. It's going to rain all day, so it's going to be in the 70s is the deal. But, yeah, going to be 80. Today's our last day of the 90s, and we go to 80-something. And then we get down to 77 and 74, I think. Is that what I was saying today? So, yeah, a little cooler, but rain.
I'd take the heat over the rain.
Really?
Yeah. I like the heat. I mean, I don't want it to be 99, but today doesn't bother me.
Okay. What are we at right now? You're looking at your phone.
Like 90 today?
Is that what it is? It's not bad. I'll take it this time of year. It works. It works fine. By the way, what else can go wrong for the Kansas City Royals? Stephen Kolek, flexor, tendon, Bobby Witt leaving games with injury now.
I mean, another injury? I don't know. Vinny's back. Salvi hasn't hit. I mean, just going to predict what leg of the stool falls next.
Yeah, what's next? You know,
Waka hurt something. We
there
can't
it
trade
is.
him.
There it is.
That's worst case scenario.
Well, I think worst case scenario would actually be like the controllables going wrong, because that's the stuff they can't control. So, the controllables, how you handle the deadline, things like that. I think you could set yourself up for the future, or potentially set yourself back.
Do you think that how they approach the deadline has changed with the fact that they've accumulated more injuries? I mean, they were talking about, well, we can't really move a Walker or a Lugo. Well, no one's calling about Lugo unless you're going to eat $18 million. So we can't do that because anything we give up, we have to replace for 27, right? So they're looking at 27. Does the fact that their rotation for 27 now seems to be Michael Wacha, in some order, probably Michael Wacha, Seth Lugo, Luinder Avila, Noah Cameron, and I don't know. Does that force their hand to look and say, I don't think 27 is it?
Yeah, I mean, I actually wrote that after the Cole Reagan's injury because I thought they went the other way after the Cole Reagan's injury and said, well, now you need Michael Wacha for next year. I look at that rotation, for example, the one that you just mentioned, and said that rotation's not good enough to compete. And so if you're already not in a spot, I mean, J.J. Picollo on Friday acknowledged that they'll need starting pitching help next year. We know they need bullpen help next year. And by the way, for the last 2 years, they've needed help at the plate, and they haven't actually acquired a bat. Now, this year they've been assisted by the fact that Jack Caglione and Carter Jensen look like they have futures, and they're part of the core in the future. But
there's no one knocking at the door right now, pitching-wise.
Yeah, and the other thing that Picollo even acknowledged was that most of their talent is in the lower levels of the minor leagues, that it's not in, AAA. It's in A-ball, and they do have some guys that, I mean, even over the past couple of weeks have hit really well or pitched well at the lower levels. But I think when you look at where they are, these next 2 weeks, and look, they already should have had this conversation, but I think overall, when you look at where they are, it should tell them that they do have the core that he's talking about. I mean, anytime you have Bobby Witt Jr., that's a pretty good place to start with your core. But do they have enough surrounding pieces to be competitive next year? And is next year really the year they should be targeting?
I don't think so. And
I don't think so either.
I'm tired of hearing about, well, you got Bobby Witt. So what? You screw up you screw up 29, 30, and 31 even worse in an effort to get from 72 to 76 wins next year. Like if you don't have it on paper, the only way that they can compete next year, and Jeff Passan said this a number of times yesterday, is ownership going to greenlight multiple, big ticket expenditures in free agency?
We don't even know what free agency is going to look like this with the CBA coming into this offseason. So I don't think that if your plan.
So why wouldn't you use that as cover fire?
That's what I think. If your plan, and this goes for all 30 teams. If your plan requires you to make off-season additions via free agency that we don't even know what that's going to look like, in December, I think that should persuade you to lean one way as opposed to the other.
And it seems like that uncertainty and being able to trade Michael Walker and have a club know that you got him for the rest of this year, next year, and then you have a club option, a pure club option of 14 on him, or you can get out from under. With these uncertain times, he would seem to be even more valuable.
Well, and here's the other thing that I look at with Michael Walker is your 3 quality starters that led you to the playoffs, and they had more than 3, but the three horses that led you to the playoffs 2 years ago were Cole Reagan, Seth Lugo, and then Michael Walker. Look at what's happened with Cole Reagan since. He was injured part of last year. He's out for the rest of this year after, 9 starts? Fewer than that, I think, even.
And even one of the starts was like a 2-outer.
Yeah, and then going to miss half of next year probably. Seth Lugo has not been the same pitcher since about this time last year, for about 12 months. Those 2 examples are evidence of the overwhelming, examples of the overwhelming evidence that this is a frequent thing with pitchers, even the pitchers you think are your horses. And so, keeping Michael Walker does not guarantee at all that this is the Michael Walker who's on your roster next year. And, if you wind up keeping Michael Walker, you could wind up in this exact same conversation that you just said at the onset. Nobody's calling about Seth Lugo. Michael Walker could have that sort of year next year where you say, well, no one's calling about Michael Walker a year from now. And you and I just talked about the fact that I don't think that the roster is ready to be a playoff team in 2027. And the Royals don't either. I mean, like I said at the onset of this, like J.J. Picollo mentioned the fact that they think they have work to do with the rotation, the bullpen. But because of that, I mean, you could be looking at a similar season, maybe slightly improved, but a similar spot of probably needing to sell, and maybe Michael Walker is not as an expensive a piece as he is right now. I don't think he's ever going to be more expensive than he is right now as far as what his value is on the market. There's also not a lot of starters on the market right now.
I think all you got to do is look back at what you did at 18, where they were paying for a couple of guys. Who was the Mets first baseman that they played in the
Lucas Duda.
Going out and getting the Lucas Dudas, and it's like, because no, we're not going to tank. And what'd you do? I mean, even worse, you lost while trying to win. I mean, you lost the confidence of ownership, right? Like, you lost the confidence of your fans. You're coming off a World Series just 2 years before, and you go out and announce that we're not tanking. That's not what we do. And then your moves add up to losing 100+ games. At least if you go, yeah, we're retooling, and you lose 100, it's like, well, it's part of the plan, right? And so if you come back and if you're sitting here saying, well, it's about 27, and you go 70 and 92, 67 and 95, your fan base, and it's not about keeping your job. I know J.J. Picollo would say, listen, I'm going to do what I think's right for the club. When they don't believe in me, I'm going to go. I've heard guys say that a million times, and I think they all believe it. But if you think you're the right guy to take this team the right direction, you have to understand that you can't. It's great for you to be out there and be like, well, that one's on me, that one's on me. Yeah, but you don't get to keep being the guy in charge when everyone thinks you're a boob, right? Like they just don't. They're like, okay, we got to go another direction. So there is an element of needing to be voted prom king along the way. And so if it's going to be a rough year next year, telling everybody you're trying to win in 27 to fall flat on your face again is not a good way, and it's not good for your season ticket holders. It's not good for your business office. It is still a business. You are trying to create momentum towards a new stadium that's coming around. I don't think you can afford, like, if you're going to say you're going to compete in 27, you better compete in 27, or it's 2 years in a row you've stated, we're in it, and you will have just flopped.
Yeah, and I actually think even more so it's the fact that if you go for it in 27, how does that affect 28 for example. I mean, not trading Michael Walker isn't just about what your team looks like for 27. I mean, the primary reason to trade him is because how much it could improve your team in the future, knowing that, of course, prospects are not a certainty by any means. But this is part of the calculus you have to weigh as a GM is you've got to be honest with yourself about where your team is for 27, because if it's not a playoff team, then is 28 and beyond the right target.
I think 30 and 31 need to be held up as very, very important years for this franchise. And nothing can screw around with 30 and 31. And I think you're running the risk of, if you're going to try to tape this together and give up players that would then be at that point starting to really settle into being big leaguers, you're a fool. Because two things. One, 2030 is when Bobby Witt Jr. is in the last year of where he has to decide if he's going to opt out. And frankly, if you start that year and he's not signed, he's opting out. I mean, unless he flops. And at that point, that's bad too, because you wouldn't want him anyway. And 30 is also your last year in Kauffman Stadium, which I think they're going to get a big attendance boost, because I think people, I know I will, I'll be like, okay, let's go out and see the old ballpark a couple more times. I'm going to go in before it's hot as hell, and I want to go, while they're still alive, and people will be buying tickets. And then in 31, you enter a new building, and you do not want to come fumbling into a new building 60 and 102. And so I don't think I think you're 100% right. I agree. I think we see it exactly the same way. You can't. I said today when we started, if I were John Sherman, I'd be like, all right, JJ, I want you to get your whole team together. I want you to put together a PowerPoint. And I want you to convince me, show me how you're going to contend with Michael Walker next year. And at the end of that presentation, if I don't go, yeah, I get it, then number one, you're in trouble. And number two, get back to work and figure out how you are going to contend. Right? Because that's what I like when I rattle off who their pitching is. Keeping Michael Walker is just like this. Dayton Moore would not trade Joakim Soria. Because, it's too important. You blow games late, the psyche, the mindset, and this team floundered and floundered and floundered. And they had a piece that they could have traded. They would not trade Salvador Perez. They did get back to the playoffs with him. Okay. But nobody went out to the ballpark to see Salvador Perez hit home runs 200 to 285. We're like, we got to go see. He's charging towards George Brett in 6 years. Said no one. It was when they won again that people got going. So, I mean, I think it's incumbent upon the baseball department to explain to them, this is how we contend next year. Because the White Sox aren't getting worse.
Well, I mean, go through what's their ideal rotation, for example, next year.
I mean, they don't have one. I can't even create it. I mean, I gave you the four guys they don't have a fifth starter. I mean, I don't know if they push Churio, he takes 3 more starts. Some people are like, well, 8 starts. David Lesky's talked to some personal guys. You need 8 starts. If you mastered a level in 8 starts, you're ready to go. Okay, you bump him to AA. For the rest of this year, I don't think you're going to go to AAA. You start him at AAA, and maybe you can count on him coming around in May or June. But it happens. I mean, Doc Gooden was 19. Felix Hernandez, the guys.
And this is the ideal scenario that we're going.
You're talking ideal. Yeah. Like I think their ideal world is somebody else pitches and they don't rush him.
Yeah.
But ideal,
but to be competitive for 27, like what's their ideal rotation if they're contending for 27?
and I think Lumpkin would be the other guy because he was looking really good, but we don't know what's the deal there. And so it would probably include those two making meteoric rises, which happens. I mean, Trey Yesevich, went from low A to pitching in the World Series last year, and he's held his own this year after being hurt early. But he's hanging in there. He's not dominant like he looked there in a couple of games in the postseason. But so I mean, I guess you could see a path for a couple of those guys getting there. But I mean, I don't really see how they make the rotation coming out of spring training unless you're really willing to gamble.
Yeah, I mean, I think ideal is that you get a prospect that goes through a rise like that who's ready. And by the way, I mean, it's not just about reaching the major leagues. Like, you also have to have like a Noah Cameron like year
as
a rookie. And I think Noah Cameron was assisted as a rookie by the fact he had enough pitches that he could throw backwards at times, like he did against the Rays when he flirted with a no-hitter deep into that game. But it's getting like a similar season out of Michael Wacha. Just turned 35, I think, on July 1st, so he'll be 36 at the All-Star break next year, and it's getting a similar season out of him to where he doesn't have, descent the way that Seth Lugo has, for the past 12 months. It's having Seth Lugo have a return to form. It's having Noah Cameron, who has a 5.2 ERA, look more like he did as a rookie. And that's with, whatever unnamed prospect that we're talking about. And then you still have a fifth spot in your rotation. Like, I just named 4 scenarios that I think Seth Lugo returning to what he was 2 years ago is, would you say that's likely or unlikely?
Unlikely.
Would you say Noah Cameron having a 2.99 ERA?
Unlikely.
And Michael Wacha having the exact same season?
Unlikely.
I think, but that's also that's probably the most likely one.
Yes.
Is that you get Michael Wacha back. And
by the way, this time next year, Seth Lugo will be 37 in 8 months. He's 36 in 8 months right now.
And so, like, there's a lot of things boxes that you have to check that we classified as less than 50% in order for your rotation. And obviously, you could go out and spend money, but I think when you do something really well, like you sign Michael Wacha to a good deal, like you sign Seth Lugo, it makes it look a lot easier than what it actually is. Like, those were 2 stellar signings from this front office. Those don't happen every day. If those guys were out there, it'd be much easier to answer this question that we're going through. And by the way, we haven't even gotten to the fact that who's going to close for him, who's going to throw the 8th for him next year, who's going to throw the 7th for him next year. And all of those, I think if the offseason started tomorrow, would be real questions for him. And this question with Michael Wacha has a trickle-down effect to how you treat the rest of your roster over these next 2 weeks as well. Guys like Daniel Lynch, who's throwing well. I mean, there's other guys that are in similar spots where they have, beyond just a rental, who other teams would certainly be interested. Everybody who's in contention needs another pitcher. In the bullpen, rotation, whatever it is, everybody needs more pitching, even if you're contending.
Do you agree that the reason Daniel Lynch is not closing is because they don't think he can do it and they don't want to screw up his trade value? Or are we kidding ourselves that with the controllable years that he has, there's no way they're going to trade him?
Yeah, I don't know if it's I don't know. I don't think it's about like screwing up his value for trades. Because I think other teams would look at him. I don't think other teams are going to look at him as a closer anyway. So I don't know that is going to affect his trade value unless he just goes to the 9th inning and is like absolute lights out. I don't know that he's definitely not your prototypical type of closer. But look, I mean, I wonder if over these next couple of months to end the season, if they see what Steven Cruz looks like in a later inning, in an 8th or 9th inning, because he's thrown really well lately, and he is a guy who throws hard. And now's the time to find that stuff out, because it was 23 that they thought Carlos Hernandez was like trending that way. And I found myself on his Baseball Reference page a couple of days ago because it was like, what happened to that guy? This was a guy who 2 years ago was trending towards a closer. Like, I think now's the time to figure out with some of these guys where you think they could belong.
Where should the concern be on Bobby Wood Jr.'s health?
I think any time that guy comes out of the game, I think it's cause for concern, because he does everything to not miss games. I mean, he's of that Patrick Mahomes ilk where it's like, you're going to have to take me off of the field. You have to take me out. I'm not taking myself out. For him to come out of the game because of the way he's feeling, I think it shows that he feels bad enough to where he feels like he's hurting the team for being out there. So I'm not saying that there's other players where I wouldn't feel that, but he's the extreme in that when he's coming out of the game, you feel like something's wrong. And that's the type of injury where you might feel like you're good to go in a few days, and you're like, oh, no, I'm not. And that's really what's happened over the past 3 days with him. I mean, he missed a game, came back, and then yesterday again, it's like, oh, here it is again.
Yeah, I think that's the frightening part. Do you agree with the idea of everything is based upon we got to try hard right now because Bobby's on the team is.
I think that's a major motivating factor for him is not missing.
But do you believe it's the right idea?
I think that requires a conversation with him. But I think Bobby Witt Jr. is a really smart guy who understands the conversation that you and I are having. For example, you know what, Bobby, we're not tanking next year. We still have you. We still have Michael Garcia. We still have Jack Caglione. We still have Carter Jensen. We still have Vinny Pasquantino. We are going to try and win with that lineup. But this isn't the time for us to go out and spend our money when in 2 years it looks like I will say in 2 years, I don't know what the rotation is going to be either, though, because those couple guys we mentioned, you might pick up the option on Walker if you keep him.
Right now, you're not picking up the option on Lugo.
So I still think you're going to have those same questions, but I mean that's even more real. Really, it's more ammunition to trade a guy like Walker to see if maybe you can't cash a lottery ticket.
Yeah, to me, I think it's like I said. I want to see your plan on how you're going to contend in 27. If you can't convince me, then I'm telling you we're going to focus on 28 and make your decisions based upon that.
My guess is that their line of thinking on this, and I should say, I guess more than a guess, but is when you have enough pieces, you feel like maybe you don't have to have as much else go right for you that is unexpected. And, that is, Bobby Witt Jr., Michael Garcia on the left side of the infield. Vinny's had a really bad year. He's not always been bad. He's had good years too, especially last year and the last couple of years. And then you look at Caglione, you look at Carter Jensen, even Michael Massey's hit better this year. I think you could squint and say this lineup could come together, and let's not blow it all up. I mean, let's kind of tread this middle ground, but I just think it's dangerous footing. Not to pick a side.
Sam McDowell is with us here on the program. We will take a break. When we come back, we will get into a little bit of the SEC Media Days, what to expect from Mizzou. Chiefs camp getting ready to open. Sam McDowell from the Kansas City Star is with us here in the program. Sam is brought to you by our friends at All Weather Decks. Kansas City's best is All Weather Decks. They're only 6 or 7 weeks away from starting your project. You can find them online at allweatherdecks.net. See photos of finished projects, all the awards they've won. It's at allweatherdecks.net, and relax.
All right, our La Feta Delicatessen end of the hour answer. How many players in Major League history have recorded 2,000-plus hits, 350-plus homers, and 10-plus gold gloves?
All right, give it to me again.
Players in MLB history, how many have recorded 2,000-plus hits, 350-plus homers, and 10-plus gold gloves?
All right, George doesn't have the gold gloves or the homers, so 350, 10 gold gloves, 2,000 hits.
Robinson?
Robinson does not have the homers.
Nope.
Definitely have the gold gloves. 10 gold gloves, you said.
Mm-hmm.
There
is a player that joined this list last night.
Oh, really?
Nolan Arenado?
Arenado.
Okay. Good call. Probably only like 3 or 4, I'm guessing. That's kind of
There is 6 total.
Ooh, wow.
Arenado, Ken Griffey Jr., Willie Mays, Mike Schmidt, Johnny Bench, and Al Kaline.
Mike Schmidt I definitely should have got.
Schmidt was the one, yeah.
That's the one I definitely should have got, for sure. Who give it to me again?
Arenado, Griffey Jr., Willie Mays, Mike Schmidt, Johnny Bench, Al Kaline.
Bench, yeah, probably. 2,000 hits for a catcher, though, can be a tough one to get to. Wow. Pretty good company. Nolan Arenado, playing in Colorado for a long time pays.
Yeah.
You know, helpful, useful to have the thin air. Just gave away a little La Feta Italian delicatessen. You can get some La Feta tonight if you want to order some catering, lafetadeli.com. They're at 143rd and Metcalf Southeast corner. Adam and his team are absolutely fantastic. The sandwiches are incredible. No one who we've ever sent there has ever come away saying anything other than, wow, that's an awesome sandwich. Go hungry and enjoy at La Feta Italian delicatessen. Sam, you like what you hear out of SEC Media Days? Mizzou.
Am I the only guy that doesn't listen to coaches being interviewed in July?
Maybe, because I do. I do. Maybe it's because of the time of year, and it's like, well, the Royals are out of it. You know, why not? But I like to hold coaches accountable for what they say. So
sure, yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying we all have to rush down there. It's such they stretch it out for so long down there. Like I've said I would go, but I only want to go the day that Mizzou is there, and figure out a day on either side. They were first day this time, but on either side, we're like, okay, this is compelling. Let's go in and try to cherry pick that day. I don't think I need to sit there through. What do they do? 5 days? Do they do 5 days on it, or do they just do 4? Are they done on Thursday? I can't remember which.
Yeah, I don't remember. They and I'll rephrase that and say, of this kind of setting just doesn't interest me nearly as much as like when things get serious. And you can I'm just I've been to several Super Bowls where you kind of have this like intentionally silly flavor to it. And I the thing I appreciate about Drinkwitz is what he thinks he says. And
yep,
I often disagree with it. I often agree with it. I often disagree with it. I appreciate that he just doesn't care about saying it, and he says it. Whatever he thinks just is like, that's the answer you get.
Do you are you a subscriber to the idea that, well, let me ask you this. Did you listen to what he said about Ahmad Hardy?
That he's medically cleared, but they still don't know. Yeah.
I mean, how did you take those comments? That it's like, we think he's going to be good to go? Because I've heard the people that are like super optimistic, like, hey, he's cleared, he's good to go, he's back. And then there are other people like, well, they're saying they don't know what the recovery is and what it looks like. Like, okay, yeah, he can go play. He is what he is. But, like, did he lose 20% strength in one leg or something? Like, that's what you don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think whatever you get out of Ahmad Hardy this year would be a terrific story and a bonus, I think. And I'm not saying that's because I've been told that, it's he's going to be out or something. But I guess I'm more in the I'll believe it when I see it. On the field. And like I said, it'll be a terrific story when he does, but I didn't read into that, hey, this guy's going to be playing in the opener in a month, 5 weeks.
Where do you think the temperature is on Eli Drinkwitz. It's not a hot seat. I'm not insinuating that. But, 6.5 is the win total. If he goes 6-6, again, doesn't beat a team with a winning record in the SEC, quarterback plays, Like what's the vibe at the end of the year?
Yeah, I mean, it sort of feels like that Mizzou's stuck in this, like, there's teams stuck in worse positions, but they're stuck in this like top 15 to 25 range. And what is going to be required for them to become a playoff team, a playoff contender beyond, it seems like the past 3 or 4 years there's been maybe 1 or 2 weeks where you thought, oh, what do the playoff rankings look like? What's their path to the playoffs? And that path always requires them beating somebody they shouldn't. And that's exactly what they've never been able to do for the past 6 years now. And what it's going to require is better quarterback play. And they got the most they possibly could out of Brady Cook. Brady Cook got the most he possibly could out of his ability. The guy's actually on an NFL roster last year. He started a couple of games in New York. And I don't care how bad the Jets were, when you start an NFL game, that's a hell of an accomplishment. And he got the most out of his ability. But they need someone with some more ability at some point, somebody who can take them to be a playoff team, because I think what Missouri has done a terrific job of over the past 5-6 years is creating NFL players, even like second, third-round picks, out of guys that I don't know that when they came into Mizzou, a lot of people said that guy's going to be an NFL player someday. And then you pop up as second-round pick, third-round pick. Like they've had a lot of those recently, to where it's been like sort of quarterback ready for a quarterback to take the wheel and drive them to the playoffs, and that's just what hasn't happened yet.
Is that a product of the NIL?
The NIL also like opens up the opportunity for that to happen too, though. I do think it is a product of the NIL, but I also think the NIL allows that to happen.
Well, that's what I can't determine. Is it like, okay, the NIL has actually made it easier and he still can't get it done? Or is it, no, he sees the guy that's good, but so does 5 other schools that maybe have bigger checkbooks. Like, and that's the thing. I mean, like, where are we at with Mizzou's spending on the roster?
And how much do you spend on that position? I mean, football is vastly different from basketball, I think, in the NIL conversation, because to me it's more like an NFL salary cap in the sense of how much can I afford to spend on this position versus this position versus this position. And I don't know that all NCAA Division I coaches have caught up on the positional value yet, as much as, and look, positional value can be slightly different at that level, compared to the NFL level, but I don't know that there's a large enough gap between some of the positions that there could be. Now, Eli Drinkwitz was one of the first ones with Luther Burden to really open up and say, this is a dude and he plays a position that can change a game. And they put a lot of the resources in to Luther Burden, and it paid off for them. That was their best season, was the year they won the Cotton Bowl with him on the roster. But I do think a lot of that quarterback question is, okay, I could pay that kid too. It's going to cost me here, here, and here, where the other team might just be an add-on. For me, it's going to have to include a subtraction, and sometimes that subtraction might be a sacrifice you have to be willing to make.
I think he's got to wear, like you said, Brady Cook was good and gave him everything he had. But you got to wear that you haven't been able to find that elite quarterback.
Yeah.
Indiana did, right? And now they did it, they did it after having a big year, but Mizzou's had a pretty big year,
And consistent. I think one of the attractive things for quarterbacks about Missouri is that they haven't bottomed out.
Well, what was he going on about? Did you hear his comments about, and maybe we'll play it here, but about how smart Anthony Simmons is and it gets him in trouble?
No, I didn't hear that.
Okay, bring this up. This is Drinkwitz. It would be number 9 from yesterday. This is on him having a reputation, right? Austin Simmons, he said, Drinkwitz says Simmons has a reputation for being a very smart quarterback.
I think he does have a photographic memory, which is usually a high sense of intelligence. I think part of that intelligence gets him in trouble a little bit because he thinks he can, he's met his match as far as an intelligence. And so, there's some things that he can't get away with that maybe he got away with before. But I think that's good. They're challenging each other is a way to grow. And so I'm very excited. I think the best thing about Austin is his communication skills. He can communicate at a high level about what he's seeing, what he understands, how routes are similar to what he's done in the past that he really liked. And that's accelerated the growth between Coach Lindsey, Coach Riley, and what we're doing.
Yeah, I don't know what he means by that. I mean, I think that
it gets him in trouble.
Well, I think the intelligence getting into trouble actually does make some sense. I think we've actually seen that with Patrick Mahomes, to where I've talked to Patrick Mahomes about the fact that sometimes he cuts off part of the field before the play because he reads what the defense is going to do, and then he gives the defense credit that they're going to execute it. And so he's cut off a route that may turn out to be open because he said, well, this is what their coverage is. This route is not going to be open. And that's an example of your intelligence getting you into some trouble. I don't know that
That's a good example, by the way.
I don't know that the rest of his answer fit that, though, when he said that he used to be able to do some things that he's not able to do. So I'm not sure I understand exactly. Would have been a nice time for a follow-up. And
or maybe you get your ass down there.
I was going to say, I really hate criticizing not having a follow-up when I'm sitting here in Kansas City, but that would have been a nice time for a follow-up.
And you just said, like, I don't get into them talking in July.
I was going to say, one of the reasons I don't is because then you wind up like Eli Drinkwitz actually gets the headlines for what he thinks of the Big Ten schedule, for example. I don't care about that. That I do care about because I find that interesting, and that's a little bit more football stuff than you typically get at an event like that, to where I would have been interested to know exactly what he meant by that.
Yeah, I don't, and it might just be it's a word salad. He didn't know what he meant. He was just getting out there and wanting to compliment the kid, but not let him hear that, he's got the end all be all. I want to make sure he knows he's still got work to do. He hasn't figured this all out. May have been just some coach speak.
Or just
maybe
the fact that, hey, I've seen this before, it's worked before, and hey, these guys are bigger, faster, stronger. That stuff doesn't work here, so you've got to erase that from your memory. The fact that these plays worked for you in the past, or this route worked for you in the past, this throw worked for you in the past, that doesn't work at this level. You've got to figure it out a different way.
You got any reaction to the Sankey, breakaway talk?
I've actually wondered for a while. I'm surprised that in 2026 that's the conversation, as opposed to, I felt like the SEC was ripe for that conversation in like 2006, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, to where they could have had that conversation as.
What does it look like, though? To me, they throw it around.
Minor leagues? I don't know.
I mean, no, but like they break away and do what? Like who? So they're just going to play conference teams. They all whine and bitch about having to play a ninth conference team, and now we're going to break away. We don't play anything but SEC schools. So what are you going to do? We're going to cut our schedule to 6 games.
Now you're going to play 12 instead of 9.
Yeah, I mean, so, and then I'm quite sure that that's not what they want to do. So that means they need someone to play. So it's like, well, we've broken away, but we'll still play you, McNeese State. We'll give you a payday to come take your beating. Okay, great. And then what? You don't have divisions. So presumably you'd go to divisions because I assume you'd won a championship game, and then you want to, herald yourself as the national champion because we're the best league, at which point, having not won the last 3, this is not the time to jump off. Like, they're not bargaining from a position of strength when they do this, because the Big Ten, it is, 3 straight from the Big Ten. You break away and try to go, you're the national champion, everyone will go, no, the Big Ten just won. They would have won. They beat you the last 3 times. Like, it's not very well thought out, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think, look, that could be the response to it, the fact that, first of all, we're going to play this year, so we don't know if the SEC is going to win this year, but I think the SEC certainly could figure out a model in which they would pay players more, and they feel like that would squash that argument. It's saying, look at all the recruits. We got the best players.
If they're not vying for a national championship, is their television deal worth what it is? That's the thing, is like their television deal is worth the most while they're the best league in a bigger overall brand. But when you just step away.
But what other games they get all the draws? It's their conference game.
It is their conference games, but I think there is an element of needing to go beat the other teams, like needing the Alabama over Michigan, somewhere that established, and in needing the performances in the playoffs that establishes them as the best league. Once you leave, what are you going to point to? Total number of draft picks per team? I mean, that's what it becomes, and it'd be like, okay, yeah, but how much better? Huh? I think they're a little better. Like right now, they're clearly not way better. They haven't won for 3 straight years. And so from that standpoint, I'm just like, when you go and you just go play on your own playground and you're not beating any of the other teams, I think you do lose some luster. I mean, I think they need part of what makes them the league everybody wants to watch is when they do go up against everybody else, what nobody wanted to admit, but when they were winning all those championships, it was important. And there was lots of different teams winning them. That is not continuing right now.
So what would you think if he actually said?
If he said we're taking the Big Ten,
yes, that's what
and we're
saying.
going. Okay,
Yeah.
now I think SEC plus Big Ten, that's 34 teams. That's probably enough. I think they're probably looking. I think what's probably coming is the 6 or 7 ACC teams that are wanting to bust out are probably going to fall in with them as well, and maybe they'll come wooing a couple of them. The problem with that is what you do to the basketball, because you leave enough basketball behind that your basketball tournament, are you going to put everybody in off a 40-team? Are you going to do a 32-team bracket? Are you going to do a 16-team bracket and think everybody's going to watch that basketball tournament? Or do you think everyone's going to still, and listen, Notre Dame has made the ACC and before that the Big East their bitch for years and allowed them to play all their sports, give them a full schedule and everything, but not give them the moneymaker in football. I mean, nobody's ever been more a stooge than the ACC and the Big East have been for Notre Dame for all these years. So maybe these shills go, oh, you can still play basketball with this. Okay. Maybe they would still be part of the basketball tournament, and maybe they'd be able to take half the money or two-thirds of it or something. I don't know. But my assumption, I would hope at some point some of these schools would have some dignity and be like, then you're out, and we're going to go do our thing over here.
That's what the Big 12 did when some of their teams went to the SEC, is they said, okay, we're not playing you. You don't get the benefits of this relationship if you don't return them. They're like, we're not going to play you anymore. I think you'd have to see it that way, right? I mean, I can't imagine if you broke away that you still get to play the bye games where you pay a team to come beat them 61-3 on a random.
Like I said, I think the old school 1AA's, what is it there? What are they? The F. Whatever, CS, then I think they would still go take the paydays. So that's what it'd be. You'd play your 9 conference games or 8, and you'd have 4 rummies, which at some point the price of the tickets, coupled with how comfy it is at home and how much cheaper the concessions are, I just don't know why people pay for.
College kids is different, right?
We didn't go see the ass games at Syracuse in 1990. Okay, like no.
Is that on campus?
The dome's on campus.
And you still didn't go.
And to our credit, to Syracuse's credit, we didn't really play many of them. Our non-con schedule would be like East Carolina, Maryland, and Florida State. And but if we were going to East Carolina.
Really?
No.
I think if you've got the venue on campus, that's the draw itself. I mean, it's the party as much as anything else.
Yeah. Well,
although it seemed like Syracuse often got that 11 a.m. slot.
Oh, always.
Yeah, that'd be different on a Saturday after a Friday night in college.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting the 11 a.m. slot.
Yeah, run right out there. It's noon Eastern time. But
wake up and go.
Yeah, it's still I think closing time was 3 in Syracuse.
Was it really?
I think so.
Wow.
I don't remember. Maybe it was 2. But anyway, yeah. I'm like, no, I'm not trucking it up there for. I mean, it's literally right on campus. So the tailgating, it's like you go to a bar beforehand. There wasn't like the SEC tailgates and everybody with tents. There are a couple of people here and there, but for the most part, the dome is surrounded by Archibald Gymnasium, 2 academic buildings, street, and 2 dormitories.
Is that as crappy as a dome as it looks on TV?
Inside or out?
Inside.
Yeah. I mean, it's built in like 1980.
Were you going to give a different answer for outside?
They've done a lot to it on the outside. It looks a lot better. They've got colors. They put a different support on because they've had to lower the Teflon dome a couple of times because of the snow, the weight of the snow on there. They did it the first time ever that happened when I was up there, but the nor'easter hit. But they've I don't know. I can't really speak to it. I haven't been in it since 1993, so I don't know what that it is now. I haven't been in Syracuse, New York since 1993.
I think you really age yourself when one of the attractions is they added color.
They make it orange and blue, and they have colored lights on it on the outside to make it look better. I'm gonna tell you something. You play on November 30th or whatever the last game of the year is, and there's 16 inches of snow. You're real happy to walk inside.
Yeah. Inside looks gorgeous.
But it was way better. It was way better. Trust me. We'll take a break. One more with Sam next. All right, wrapping up things here with Sam McDowell, columnist for the Kansas City Star. Are you excited to get up to St. Joe? Get a good sweat on?
I love camp. I don't like the drive up there. I don't like the location, but I love camp itself. So I do get kind of excited to. I mean, they can't hide stuff in camp the way that they can in the regular season. In the regular season, you get to watch the guys stretch for 5 minutes every day. And camp, you get to watch every play of an outdoor practice for hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, whatever it might be. And you can tell me that you like Juan Thornhill, but I see him running with the third team. We tend to know what you think of guys.
You gonna be up there 2 o'clock Friday?
I will be up there.
All right.
I'll be up there.
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. Sam, great stuff. Appreciate it. I'll talk to you tonight on our Red, Gold, and Bold.
Yep, sounds good.
All right. Sam McDowell, columnist for the Star. We'll take a break. Need to know next.
All right, when was the last time Patrick Mahomes had a 70-plus yard completion? Brought to you by LaFetta Delicatessen.
Fourth quarter of the program begins right now, finishing strong here on a Tuesday. Still to come, Eno Saris. We'll all get smarter about the game of baseball as we talk to Eno Saris, senior MLB writer for The Athletic. We will dive into his thoughts on the Kansas City Royals, where they're going, amongst other things. That's still to come here in the program. Let's get to what you need to know. We begin with the Royals last night getting a walk-off win, their second in the last 4 games. Matt Quatrero talking last night about the old walk-off bunt.
Well, yeah, I mean, proud of them for doing it. I mean, we work on it. They know that's part of the game. I thought that was our best chance to get the run in there. They made the adjustment and brought the first baseman way in. It's still a really tough play, charging, first baseman, trying to flip it with the glove. So take our chances there. But, I mean, he stuck his nose in there and got it done.
Okay. We work on it. We expect it. Still a tough play. You did mention that, there was a botch. I don't know if he's going to make the play, even if he fields it cleanly. But, fun, exciting. If you can't, if you don't feel confident in the batter at the plate to get it done, go ahead and put the bunt down.
And he bunted his first attempt went foul. Nick Lofton's did. And he did it again. Got it down.
The foul, like Nick Lofton has to be able to get the first bunt down. Like, that's your ticket. Like, you have to be able to do those little things, right? That has to be a part of the game. By the way, another runner thrown out earlier in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, still trying to master that base running thing. Let's hear from Nick Lofton. He was talking about the bunt. Here's his thoughts on the game winner.
Yeah, just trying to execute a job and put a bunt down. Wasn't able to do it on the first one, but got the sign again to put it down. And I've been bunting a lot lately, so felt very confident in that situation to be able to get one down. And then, of course, anytime you get a win, it's a joyous one. So really happy for our team, really happy for all the guys that worked really hard for that win. Waka, unbelievable job from him. Our bullpen did what they needed to do. Defense did what they needed to do, and came out on top.
Put it down, didn't make it happen, got the sign again, so they showed some confidence in him. Got it down the second time. I'll reiterate, he needs to be able to get it down the first time. I'm not saying it's easy, not in any way, shape, or form, but a large amount of time. Like, I think you have spent a lot of time in hitting cages in your lifetime. You've spent a lot of time as a professional baseball player, not necessarily a major league baseball player, but as a professional baseball player, your hit tool is never going to be 35 home runs. So spend a large amount of time handling the bat. Be able to take it to the right side of the infield if need be. It'd be great if you can get the ball in the air, but I think if you get the ball in the air, you'd hit better already. So the bunting and at least being able to place the ball, that has to become a big part of your game, because those are the little things. That's how Nick Lofton makes a roster, stays on a roster, a big league roster, and gets a 10-year pension out of the big leagues. Josh Rojas talked about the ninth inning. He broke down the process of executing the walk-off.
I was trying to get my breath. I was exhausted. Came out of the box hard, trying to get a double there. I look up, and Ramos already has the ball, so I had to hit the brakes, go back to first. And then Tolley lays down the bunt. I'm trying to beat that out at second. Carter hits a sac fly, tagging up, going to third. First safety squeeze goes foul. And at that point, I was like, okay, I just got to get my breath here for, one more run at this thing. And he got it down, and that was the last gas I had right there. I don't know what would have happened after that one.
You're breath now. You're good.
I mean, it didn't help that Lofton decided to run out to center field on the walk-off. That was even more running there. So no, but yeah, I'm good now. But yeah, there was that bottom of the ninth. I was pretty toast.
He's an infielder, not a lot of long runs. Not a lot of long runs.
He's a utility guy. He plays around the infield for a reason.
I think we found that out. Not all good news. Bobby Wood Jr. left the game early. Matt Quatrero provided the reason as to why Bobby Wood Jr. was pulled from the game.
Yeah, he got tightened up pretty good. His back tightened up pretty well there early in the game. So we're getting him evaluated tonight and see how he feels.
Was it a specific play that?
No, it's just been the same moving around. I mean, he tried to get loose. He did get loose one time prior to the game. He didn't do anything early, but just, he's a guy that's playing at high intensity all the time, and just tightened up.
Okay. So we'll see. I mean, I'm going to stress you cannot get Bobby Wood Jr. hurt. Like, he cannot be hurt more. So they need to be erring very much so on the side of precaution when it comes to Bobby Wood Jr. You're going to talk about 27? Back it up. Bobby Wood Jr. needs to sit. Get this thing fixed. Get him beyond whatever's happening right now with that. How about the Salvador Perez homer, number 316? He's now one behind George Brett for the franchise's all-time record. 2 to break, 1 to tie. Quattrero knows the record-breaking moment is looming.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's wanted it since last year, I mean, trying to put up huge numbers, and but to me it's a good sign. The last 2 are dead center. I mean, he's squaring those balls up. He's feeling decent at the plate right now, and he's got power to all fields.
What is it like for you to watch him come up to the plate in these at bats, knowing what's looming?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan in that moment. Like, want it to happen. You want it to happen, quickly, so it can be celebrated. But again, we know Salvi. All he wants to do is win the game too. So I certainly hope it happens in a win as well.
Be nice if there's a nice walk-off home run. Get it, have it really mean something. But he's getting close. I look forward to him getting it done and see if that opens up his hitting.
Right.
I mean, I'd like to see him do more than just take a Paul Bunyan cut at the first pitch every single plate appearance. Michael Walker was outstanding yet again. Matt Quattrero, by the way, I know Curtis is not writing the throws because he would never say that Matt Quattrero wasn't surprised to see his starter shove.
That was me, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know it was hot and probably had a little trouble with his grip there in the first inning, scattered the ball a little bit, the 24 pitch first, and then comes right back, first pitch out, quick second, gets himself back on track, and then he just kept doing it, kept throwing strikes. I thought he mixed really well. He was not predictable at all, inning to inning, batter to batter, and it's just what we talked about pregame, what we've gotten accustomed to.
It's, he's been very good. I do want to point out the FIP says that he's always exceeding. His ERA has basically exceeded his FIP every year, so he seems to have mastered a little bit the art of funky contact. So I would give him credit for doing that all the time. It's not just one time, but we're still not talking about a guy who's hanging a 175 ERA out there. He's pitching well, but this is not the horse of a staff.
Yeah, this is not an ace that's on the market.
Yeah.
This is not Tarek Skubal.
So if you don't think you can go acquire, and I don't think you can, but you should have confidence that you can make a good run at acquiring a Michael Wacha almost every year through trade or free agency. And if you can't see who those players are, then the war may already be lost. But he's the one chip that can get you a lot of talent back. And if you could get a couple of starting pitchers, for 28 back, you're a long way down the road because he didn't, he'll be around for 27 and 28. But if you can get 2, you can get 3 players for your system. If you could get a reliever and a starter out of this, they're ready to go in 28, 29. You're a better ball club, and I think the Royals have to look at that seriously. Back at it tonight with the Giants, 6:40 on Royals TV. Tyler Mahle against Luinder Avila. The Royals -108, Giants -108. Speaking of Bobby Witt Jr.'s back, by the way, quote, still pretty stiff today, Matt Quattrero said. He's still dealing with the back spasm. Once that calms down, the team will figure out the next step. The Royals will be cautious with him. He's not in the lineup today. Tyler Tolbert is playing shortstop. Kyle Isbell begins a rehab assignment in Omaha today. And per Andy Rogers, Stephen Kolek is going to get a second opinion on his right flexor sprain. So the Royals don't have any update on his status as of yet. Do you think he's getting a second opinion because they said it's all good?
No, it's bad news, and I think you're going to win that bet with passing.
We're going someplace expensive, passing. Someplace real pricey. You don't come on here bragging about making the big bucks. Make a wager for dinner and think we're, going to go hit burger night. Not happening. It actually probably will because I don't really like fine dining. So he'll probably get off light, to be honest with you. Or he'll just claim to be busy all the time. He'll go. You know how many times? 3 dinners Doug Gottlieb lost to me. You know how many he paid up? Hey, we're together at the Final Four. He's, I'm swamped. I'm busy. I got, The difference is my wife and his wife know each other. So that's where it can actually happen.
Okay.
Because they, like, Passon and I don't probably care if it happens, but I think our wives would be like, that would be fun. So he'll be stuck that way. Nice people, our wives. Very nice people. 2 of us, asses. But when the nice people want to do something, it ends up happening. The Royals have signed all kinds of their draft picks, including Zion Rose, nearly $6 million. Maybe a little bit higher than I thought it was going to be. They didn't save quite as much as I thought they would, but he's signed. Slidham signed. Max Yell, that's 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th, 8th, 9th, all inked. Still waiting on, what would that be? Who's the West Virginia, or the Ole Miss kid's name? Rabe.
Taylor Rabe, yes.
Taylor Rabe. Sure remember that. I used to work with a guy named John Rabe. Funny guy, by the way. Not that you'll ever know him. He lives and works in Florida now, but funny guy. Sidebar for you there. All right, we will take a break. We'll come back here. We'll talk some baseball with Eno Saris, one of the smartest guys to talk baseball with. We'll get his thoughts on where the Kansas City Royals are going and more. We'll do that next here in the program.
The program with Soren Petro.
Hell no. Okay, that answered your question.
Weekdays from 2 to 6 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, listen up. The Plumbing Pro is the one to know for all your plumbing needs. That's right. The one to know is the Plumbing Pro, serving Kansas City since 1980. They live, work, raise their families here in Kansas City. That's unique to be locally owned and operated. There are some companies out there, a lot of them. You might even recognize the names. The names have been around for a while, but the ownership, that's new. They've been bought out. The companies that maybe you trusted in the past, that's not who they are anymore. They're an out-of-town company being run from out of town. That's not the case with the Plumbing Pro. Steve and his team are right here in Kansas City. So if you've got a problem with flushing the toilet, maybe the hot water's not hot anymore, can't do a load of laundry, sewer, septic, drain installation or repair, they do it all. Even that main line coming in from the street, that can be a tough job. You might need heavy equipment to dig things up and get down to it. The Plumbing Pro does that. You know, they also could save you some money. Their low-impact pipe bursting can help save your landscape, driveway, and sidewalk. Sometimes they can fix that main line without even digging anything up. And so you don't have to take out the sidewalk. You don't have to take out the driveway. You don't have to take out all the landscaping. This low-impact pipe bursting, basically threading a new pipe, state-of-the-art pipe in the old clay pipe, and you save a ton of money. So listen, while a lot of folks may have the same name on the door, they're not. It is still the Plumbing Pro. That's locally owned and operated here in Kansas City since 1980. Answering questions, helping KC homeowners since 1980. So what are you waiting for? Don't waste your whole Saturday or Sunday missing tea times or watching the games or being out at the kids' events, messing around with trying to fix it yourself. Get it done fast. Get it done easy. We had a toilet problem. It was done in 30 minutes. Call 816-763-8200 or go online to theplumbingpro.com. That's theplumbingpro.com. Remember, theplumbingpro.com.
Joint pain is awful when you're the person who's fighting through it, but I'm betting you aren't the only ones affected by it. Maybe you love someone who struggles with joint pain. This is SSJ. Let's talk about getting that life back, because at QC Kinetics, that's what's happening every day. People who were stuck in that cycle of pain in their hips, knees, shoulders, and back, they're finally stepping out of it. With regenerative treatments done right there in the office. No surgery, long recovery, or putting life on hold. Just real relief. The inflammation eases. And the
Welcome back here in the program here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Let's talk some baseball. Our coverage of the Major League Baseball is brought to you by Modelo Especial. Modelo began brewing Modelo Especial, brewed with a taste that is pure gold. It started more than 100 years ago. Perfect for hanging out at the pool or just relaxing at home. Rich, full-flavored Pilsner-style lager. Delivers a crisp, refreshing taste. Don't forget about the Modelo Oro, 90 calories, 3 carbs. If you want a great light beer, it's the gold standard of light beers. The Modelo Oro, brewed with a fighting spirit since 1925. We turn to the Athletic senior MLB writer, Eno Saros. Always love our conversations with Eno Saros. We welcome him to the program right now. Eno, how are you, buddy?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate the time. I want to go back to something you wrote, 2 or 3 weeks ago about the baseballs and how they are changing. Is it continued to go in that direction? Because we saw that, supposedly there was, I can't remember what you said, what their explanation was, but all of a sudden the baseball got nice and lively, and it coincided with a new batch coming. Is there more evidence? Are we still with the lively baseball? And do you think that was just, hey, we got a strike looming over us, let's inject some fun into the game?
I can't tell you if it was done on purpose, or if there's a grand conspiracy theory. I can just tell you, what I uncovered in my reporting, which was that they sent out a memo early in the season, before the season started, actually in spring training, saying, "Oops, we've made a mistake, and there was too much oil used in some portion of the making of the ball, and now we've got splotchy yellow balls. And we're trying to do our best to get rid of them, but we use so many balls in a given season, we can't just throw them all away. So, more than half of the balls that we use this season will be affected by this." And what's interesting about that was, they told the players, but they didn't really tell the media. They didn't tell the fans. And they just sort of ducked their head down and hoped that nothing would happen. And for the first couple of months of the season, the ball acted normally. And I can't tell you why. They say there's no link. But in July, the ball started acting totally differently. And the ball started having lower drag on it, like we had in 2019 when all of the home run records were broken. I mean, 2019 was the year of the home run. And the ball is traveling now about as lively as it has since 2019. For example, this is the craziest July in terms of just home runs per game since 2019. So we're going to see a lot of home runs going forward in the next few months. And they say it's not because of the manufacturing issue, but I have a hard time when I see you had a manufacturing issue and now the ball is acting weirdly. I think there's a link there.
Yeah, and it may be that nobody had any intent to it. It's just pure coincidence, or it could be that there was intent. And let's make everybody happy, and let's have a. I mean, you've got quotes from I remember Terry Skubal. The baseballs are doing some weird things. I don't know if you guys are paying attention to that. They're flying right now. Go look at the numbers and tell me something's not going on. There's no coincidence. I mean, we would expect the pitchers to be more adamant about it because they're the ones giving them up, and the players be like, "Nope, I just got it. I just got a hold of it." That's how it works. But yeah, I thought that was, when I read that, I was like, okay, it seems like if I give them credit for being smart people, that this is something you might do if you wanted to put a little, enjoyment into the game, headed into a rough off season. But I digress. Less drag, is it less seams? Is that what it is, or is it the like you said, the oil or something like that just takes less? The actual leather takes up less of that, and therefore, travels further. Do we know what it is specifically and how the baseball is different?
Yeah, I mean, that's the missing link is why is this happening? I would just suggest that what happens in July, the temperature changes, so maybe there's a slightly different relationship between that oil in the ball and between the temperature and the oil in the ball. So maybe more is seeping out, or it's I don't know what it is. I even talked to a physicist who's like, I don't know how more oil on the ball will reduce drag. Another way of thinking about it, though, is they're throwing away, like the catchers are throwing away more balls than ever. because of these oily balls. And so if the catchers are throwing away more balls and the pitchers are throwing away more balls and then they even have a monitor throwing away balls and the umpires can check them out and throw away balls, maybe the balls that are left are just the ones that are the tightest. Maybe the balls that didn't have splotchy ones on them that were from the other manufacturing facility that didn't have this oil problem. Maybe those balls were just all the lower drag ones. And what lower drag is usually you think of it as the height of the seams. So if you have a high height of seams, then the pitchers love it, makes a lot of movement, and the ball doesn't fly through the air because the seams create drag. And then, normally you'd think if they had lower seams, the balls would fly out. So that's how I normally think of it. I don't actually know what the link is between these splotchy balls and the drag, but baseball has a site where they show you the drag, and they release those numbers themselves. And there is no other season in which we've seen the ball start in one place and then just go and go down to the bottom. Like this season looks like no other in the drag the dashboard that they have up on Baseball Savant. So,
yeah.
Something crazy is going on.
Yeah, it is, and Eno's got it, the graphic is on there, and you can see how like year over year, this is where it is. It all kind of does this, and now we've got this huge disparity between what the baseball was doing and what it's doing now. So yeah, it is interesting. AI is something else that you have written about. Like, tell me, listen, I'm trying to fumble my way through being productive and getting something from artificial intelligence. I can't tell you I've mastered it. I've got some friends that are like, it saves me 40 hours a week of work and blah, blah, blah. I am not that guy. I haven't quite figured it out yet. But how were teams using the AI to their benefit and how many were getting an advantage from it?
Well, baseball went and looked through the iPads and did a review. They found 10 power users. So there were 10 teams that were using, and one of the teams that has been released is, Adam Ottavino recently said that the Mets were one of them. So we know some of these 10 power using teams. And what they had was they have an MLB issued iPad that was supposed to be used for hitters. They closed the video rooms after the Astro sign stealing scandal. And after that, hitters said, well, I used to be able to look through my swings and look through my pitches. Pitchers said, I want to see where that strike was or if it wasn't there, And so the MLB gave them iPads and said, here on this, you will find our app that we control that gives you a high home view or open side view or whatever view you want, all the video, you can check it out. And then the coaches said, well, hey, we have these binders full of information. We're just killing trees over here. Could you allow us to upload our information about where to position players on defense and what pitches are pitchers to throw and that sort of stuff? And baseball said, yeah, fine. And the slippery slope was, well, they used automation, they used AI, they used machine learning. They used these things to create apps that at first were kind of cool. They were like, oh, our hitters can go on there and they can type in there, I want to see every Mason Miller righty slider to a righty that looks like me, that's my height or has my kind of swing, right? Boom. Oh, you're seeing what Mason Miller does. Or every Mason Miller slider against me, So it was, at first it was just like cool sorting things. But then, of course, the nerds got to it. And I say this affectionately because I am a nerd. But the nerds got to it and they started being like, hey, what pitch should my pitcher throw next? And hey, what pitch will my hitter see next? And what they found was that they were able to kind of make these apps more predictive by saying, hey, by the way, the last 5 pitches were slider, fastball, slider. What's the next pitch going to be? And these automations could look through all of the history of this pitcher, look for patterns, look through the patterns in the game itself and say, he's about to throw a slider. And then when you're doing the signs, you can do a sign to the hitter, hey, he's about to throw a slider. And some of these teams are actually now telling pitchers what to do from the dugout. So some teams are like, hey, throw a slider.
Well, so how accurate, do we know AI is? I see some people on Twitter, maybe in my line of work that are want to put together fancy graphics and everything. And some of them I see are put together and says AI generated and all that, and they're real nice. Others make colossal mistakes. Right? I'm assuming that baseball teams are investing in the better AI sources that are out there. But, how much could we check, how much could a team check as to whether or not AI is actually any good at getting that done?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I have seen from my experience is that if you give AI like a closed amount of information, the way I've used it a lot is like, hey, here, look at this data set and do these things to it. Then it doesn't make stuff up because you're giving it the data and you're saying, hey, look at the data and do this. Where AI gets into trouble is if you say, hey, look on the internet and, tell me, this or that, the other thing. It's looking through the internet. The internet itself is full of mistakes, people lies,
No.
people just,
No.
yeah. So AI returns stuff that's not true because it's looking at stuff that's not true. What I've found is if you give it a good data set, it can do really cool things. And this is not just AI. I mean, these are models. These are predictive models. I think you're right, though. It's not like they figured out baseball, and it's not like they had. Obviously, the Mets haven't figured out baseball.
Right.
So it's not like they figured out baseball. I think baseball, was a little bit worried about where this might go. And this is one of the ways that I saw it is, there's an app on there that will actually tell some of these teams would actually tell their manager what to do. And the app would be like, hey, this is the time to take out this pitcher, put this pitcher in. Hey, pinch hit with this guy. And it would just look through the game state and it would say, oh, I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this. Probability is, oh, you need a right-hander. This, that. The stuff that the manager is supposed to do. Well, what happens if the manager looks at the app, makes a decision based on the app because the front office says, hey, use the app. He makes a decision based on the app. It doesn't go well. He has to go, in front of the media after the game, and they say, hey, why'd you make that move? And he can't say, well, the app told me to.
Yeah. Well, we know, and we've talked about it a lot because, there are different things. We get it all the time. When you don't win, I always say that every question or really every complaint is really boiled down to why didn't you win?
Right.
And so like we'll get the question and it's like, listen, they don't just have a hunch anymore. Like Quatrero knows these 4 relievers are available. These 2 aren't. This one's an emergency. Yep. And I'm going in this order and this guy's up in the 3rd. It's his turn in the 5th. And, it's all pretty pre-programmed. And it's not really like, hey, boy, here's this situation we just completely didn't see. They just don't. The pitchers are work so short. You just don't really have that many options because everybody's max effort and everybody's pitched within the last couple of days because of how many guys they use. There really aren't many options left, are there?
No, and this won't change that much because they're allowed to still run these models and make these decisions before the game. They just what baseball didn't like was running these models during the game. So they're still going to game plan before the game, and they're going to say, hey, in the 3rd, if this happens, use this reliever, and they're still going to. The front office is still going to work with most managers in concert together to make a game plan that covers most bases. And they're still going to have stuff on the iPad that's static, that can't update, that still says, oh, when this guy, comes to bat in 0-2 counts, he uses a slider all the time, right? So they're still going to have all the information they use. They just didn't like having a model updating in real time that could just basically be the brain that just hey, take the reliever, take the pitcher out, put the righty in, all this stuff. So they wanted their players and their coaches to think a little harder. Plus, it gets a little close to sign stealing when, let's say, you have a model in the iPad that can just look at every pitch that's happening, and it says, hey, I found a tip. His finger does this, on sliders, and it alerts, the pitching coach and says, oh, we found a tip, and you run out there. I mean, that's a little bit close to cheating, right? I mean, you're having a machine, figure out the tip for you during the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's down to getting on towards like the sign stealing part of the equation.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Using technology to see something and then relay it into the game to make changes. We're talking to Eno Saris here from The Athletic, senior MLB writer for The Athletic. The trade deadline is around the corner. I know you put your big board, top 75 guys up there. And it's just people that would have an interest. Listen, Michael Wacha is fairly high up on this list, but I want to save him for a second because you've also got Seth Lugo, Chris Bubich, and Matt Strahm on the list from the Kansas City Royals. They clearly are in sell mode with where their record is. I'm curious, do they still have value? Like, does Chris Bubich obviously needs to come back and pitch, but does Matt Strahm have value the way he's pitching right now? I mean, is there actually something you could get, or is it just like, no, if he can put together 4 good outings in a row, then he becomes a guy that somebody might want?
Yeah, I mean, the two most powerful numbers in small samples for pitchers, one is, strikeouts minus walks, and he doesn't look good there.
Right.
He's not striking anybody out, and he's walking too many guys. But, on the flip side, another number that's very powerful is Stuff Plus, which just says, the shapes of his pitches are good. There he looks decent. So a team might take him on. I don't know that you'd get much for him, but they might take him on to have a second or third lefty in the pen. Nobody's buying him at like a closer level. With Lugo and Walker, I think it's interesting because they, in some ways, they definitely have value in that they're at least somewhere between a 3 and a 5, in a good rotation, depending on how good your rotation is. They are major league starting pitchers, and that might be why they don't go. Because no matter what they're doing this year, I don't think the Royals, want to re-enter a rebuild, and they want to be continually building. They don't want to waste Bobby Witt years, So whatever you're doing next year is going to include, a number 3 pitcher and a number 4 pitcher. So I wouldn't be surprised if Lugo and Walker don't go, just because they are probably not like 1s or 2s that start a playoff game for you. Like if you're, the Dodgers or Yankees or something, you're not buying them to start, game 2 of the ALCS, right? I don't think so. Not in their current state. Maybe Walker, he's closer.
Right.
But then, Walker's also he's not owed that much. So, if I'm the Royals, I'm like, I'm going to need a number 2 and I'm going to need a number 3 next year. So, are you going to give me a guy who can be my number 2 or number 3 starting pitcher next year? And if not, then I'm just going to have to go back into the market, and everybody else is going to be in the market trying to buy pitching. So
I definitely get that mindset, but I also look at it and say your rotation for next year is Michael Wacha, Seth Lugo, Noah Cameron, and Luinder Avila, and they've been doing bullpen days for a while now. They don't have a guy. Kolek is headed for a second opinion. You don't go get a second opinion because you liked what you heard the first time. So he looks like he's barreling towards Tommy John. Bergert went under the knife. Cole Reagans went under the knife. Bubich is hurt and not under contract next year. They don't have a 5th starter. So, I get it. Now we don't have a 4th or a 5th if we move, or if you call Walker 1 or 2 or 3, whatever, however you want to do it. Yeah, now we need even more. Yeah, and you can't get there. Would I be wrong if I were John Sherman, the owner of the Royals, and said, JJ, come in to me, make me a presentation about how you're going to compete in 27 with Michael Wacha. Otherwise, we need to just, especially with a work stoppage of some sort coming, we need to just batten down the hatches and understand that we need to be pointing towards 28 or later.
I mean, it's a good point because I'm looking at the top prospects, and I love Kendry Churio, but, he's 19 years older. What is he?
18, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't even turned 19. So, how much are you going to rush him? Maybe that's when you're like, hey, we can maybe when Reagans comes back, or I don't know. Yeah, I think you're right. You might be right. If you can get multiple arms back, especially if they're close, that fills a need because there's some, nice pieces for the Royals that are further away. And so, but you still have Carter and Jack and Bobby Witt. So if you could get some kind of AAA type arms, AA, guys who are close. Yeah, I think you're right. Actually, you'd have to do it, and that makes the argument that maybe Walker goes and Lugo stays because Walker's going to get you more back.
Michael Wacha has exceeded his FIP almost every year, and I know there's other ways, ERA plus, different advanced metrics, and some even more advanced that will help to try to describe what a pitcher really is. Michael Wacha's just a guy. Jason Stark once said to me, he goes, there's some guys that just induce funky contact. Mm-hmm. Is that what Michael Wacha is? He doesn't overwhelm with the fastball. He doesn't strike everybody out, but he has clearly mastered the art of not getting squared up, and you can count on him to be pretty good, even though he doesn't get the kind of swing and misses that usually the more consistent pitchers get.
Yeah, he's a really interesting pitcher. The two pitches that induce the weakest contact are the changeup and the cutter, and those are his best pitches, right? So that's Michael Wacha's, the changeup and the cutter. And, another thing you can see is once he kind of fell upon that cutter and really embraced it in 2022, since that day, he's had a batting average on balls in play of 277. Now, around the league wide, it's usually 300. So, when you project him, you say, oh, he's going to go back to 300 like everybody else, but he hasn't. He's done that for 5 straight years. He's had a 3.49 ERA over those 5 years, despite a 3.9 FIP, a 4 expected ERA. So, he's always a guy that I struggle to rank. My pitching rankings are coming out this week. I probably always rank him too low for people in Kansas City. But the tools I work with say he's going to regress. He is pretty cool, though. I do love the cutter and change combo, those pitches. And the other thing is he's got great command. I mean, he's had above average command numbers, above average walk numbers in, most years of his career, almost every year. So those 3 things are things that people don't usually bet upon because they're, you don't want to bet on that necessarily in a guy who just came up for 2 weeks. I think that's happened in Kansas City where guys come up for 2 weeks, have command, everyone's like, oh my God, he's great. And then it turns out not to be so great. I mean, Noah's been up and down, right?
Yeah.
But Wacha has done this year over year. So at some point you have to leave the advanced metrics behind and say, yeah, he's kind of a mid-threes guy he's a competitor.
He's reversed the trend of strikeouts per 9 dropping as well. He was on a 3-year trend of that, but he's ticked the strikeouts back up a little bit. But how much, when I see leading the league with 125 and a third innings at what is now 35 years old, just turned 35 recently, I look at that and say, this is the time to cash out. Right, like I mean, you're playing blackjack.
He used to have injury concerns too.
Yeah, back in the day. I mean, he's been pretty healthy as far as his starts go. I mean, at least with the Royals, 29-31. He's got 20 right now. He had 24 last year with the Padres, 23 with the Red Sox. He wasn't usually getting that 150, 160. So now after a stretch of 84, 126, 34, which is the COVID year, but 124, 127, 134. Now he goes 166, 172, and he's leading the league in innings this year. And I look at that and say, this is like you playing blackjack. You bought in for 300. You have 500. You have $850 in front of you. Like, it's not going to get much better, jackass. So go ahead and get up and go cash in now. Because
we talked about every advanced metric, going against them, right?
Yes,
I think you've convinced me, man. They should trade him.
That's what I set out to do was to trade, was to get you on my side on that. I listen, and I want to be clear. You don't just trade him for whatever you get. You need to get something good, and if you don't, you keep him because
and close, right? Close, because you've got Jack, you've got Carter, you've got Bobby. Like you need to kind of turn this around quicker.
Do they, or does that just make you end up taking 80 cents on the dollar? Like, would they be better off just going for the best talent and letting it back up in the system and being patient and waiting?
Yeah, I mean, one thing they are good at is maybe they can get back in and do the Wacha and Lugo again, right? So maybe you can take some guys that might take a little bit of time and say, hey, next year we're going to go back into the market and sign a veteran that's going to come here and do really well here again.
Yeah. All right. Last question I got for you is, what is the value of a manager in today's game with all the numbers and analytics that are there?
I mean, to me, I think we overvalue the reliever decisions. That ends up being the thing that we get mad about because, like what you said earlier, the question is always, why didn't we win? And when you don't win, you kind of look at the manager and say, oh, well, he left that starting pitcher in too long, or he took him out too early, or whatever it is. Those kinds of decisions kind of tend to come and go, and they're argued out between the front office and the manager. I don't think there's any manager out there that has the magic touch when it comes to leaving a reliever, taking the reliever out, or that sort of decision. So to me, the most important thing a manager does is communicate with the media, communicate with his players, let his players know what roles they have, what they need to do to improve their role. So, give them honest feedback about what they're doing and what their role is on the team. Interact with the media, keep the media happy so they're not attacking you. Be the interface between the front office and the media because you do the regular media scrum. So I think it's a lot of communication, managing of personalities. I hate to offend anybody who's listening that thinks it's more about tactical stuff, but that's my experience from being in the dugout, seeing managers. I think that's the most important part. You look at Doc Roberts. I don't know that I think he's the best tactician of all time, but you know what David Roberts is? He's super chill, and media loves him, and the players love him, and I think that's his best skill.
Yeah, that's a great point. We're talking to Eno Sarris here in the program. Always enjoy our conversation with the senior writer, MLB writer from The Athletic. Final four time, 4 quickies. I'll start you with this. What do you think the Royals' record is going to end up being? They're on pace for about 66 wins right now.
Yeah, I don't know that it's going to get much better than pace, but I'll say they avoid 100 losses.
Okay. What are you feeling for the World Series right now? Who versus who?
It's in the light of the CBA discussion. It's really interesting to see that the Brewers have the best record in baseball and the Rays have the best record in the American League East. And everyone says these small market teams can't break through. I don't know that I believe in the Rays, but I'm going to put the Brewers in the World Series this time. I think they're going to figure it out. And I don't know. The AL is just so messed up. I don't know. Maybe Brewers Yankees. Maybe we'll go big market against small market.
There we go. It'll be easy for me to figure out who I'm rooting for in that one. Who is your favorite pitcher right now? Who do you enjoy watching the most?
Well, I just picked the Brewers, but Jacob Mizorowski is throwing 105 in his 6th inning of work, and he just looks unbeatable. He's just he's like string pull. I mean, he's interesting looking. He's got good pitches. He's everything right now.
Do you know where he's from?
No.
He is from Grain Valley High School, right about 20 miles east of where I'm sitting right now. So, Kansas City
That's
kid.
a good answer then.
Yes, it was a great answer because that takes me to my last question, which is how does his career end? When you watch him throwing 105 and doing all that, how does it end for him?
Yeah, the best comp I can give you, which is a sobering comp, is probably Jake DeGrom, because he throws a mid-90 slider like Jake DeGrom does. He's had great velocity like Jake DeGrom. Maybe his body type allows him to stay healthier. I mean, every ligament is not the same. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little bit like Jake DeGrom, where it's not innings rich at the end of his career, but still a Hall of Famer. I think I'm going to vote for Jake DeGrom for the Hall of Fame. More like a Sandy Koufax than a Greg Maddux.
Right. Okay. I didn't know. I was thinking Kerry Wood.
Oh, well, no. Hey, he's going to hopefully burn longer than that.
Okay. Eno, great stuff as always. We really appreciate it. Love your work. Keep it up, and hopefully we'll talk to you again down the road.
All right. Thanks for having me.
All right. There he goes. Eno Sarris from The Athletic. Always enjoy the conversation. Always smarter. Check it out. He's worth the subscription. If you're a baseball fan, you'll love reading his work. It's at The Athletic. Senior MLB writer Eno Sarris with us here in the program.
The program with Soren Petro.
When you stand next to me and go, wow, this is a big guy.
Weekdays from 2 to 6 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Listen, Art and Frame Warehouse, just had a buddy sent over there. He said, hey, I need something framed. Well, give me your guy. I said, all right, go see him. Michael at Art and Frame. His whole staff, they're great. You don't have to talk to Michael. They're all fantastic at Art and Frame Warehouse. They specialize in framing sports memorabilia, things like jerseys, right? You got that special, I don't know, maybe you got a Jake Mizorowski jersey autographed. You want to get it framed. You want someone who's not going to damage it. You know, some places will poke holes in the jersey to try to make it look nice. Listen, I appreciate they're trying to make it look nice, but there are ways, and Art and Frame has perfected it, to make that jersey perfectly smooth and flat, display everything, plus give it great borders. How about UV protected glass, museum glass where it cuts down on the glare? They are absolute artists. Right there at 92nd and Metcalf, locally owned and operated for 25 years. When it comes to framing any of your sports memorabilia, go where I take all my sports memorabilia. That's Art and Frame Warehouse. Get gallery quality at warehouse prices. You heard me right. Gallery quality at warehouse prices. Plus, they deliver and install, and everything comes with a lifetime warranty. So go right now to Art and Frame Warehouse. Go to framekc.com. That's framekc.com. Art and Frame Warehouse. Protect your collection.
Hi, this is John with Pyramid Roofing. When it comes to protecting your home or business, experience and trust matter. For more than 30 years, Pyramid Roofing has protected Kansas City homes with top quality materials and expert craftsmanship built to withstand tough winters and the hottest summers. If you think your roof may have damage, let my team take a look and give you an honest assessment. Call 816-966-1101 or visit pyramidroofingkc.com. Pyramid Roofing, your home deserves the best.
Hey, I'm Brian Sight.
And I'm Zachary Sight. At Bobsite Auto Group, we've always believed buying a vehicle should be built on trust, not pressure.
That's why families across Kansas City and Lawrence have been choosing Bobsite for generations. Whether you're looking for a dependable Ford, a stylish Honda, a value-packed Kia, or a rugged Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram, you'll find the right vehicle backed by people who truly care.
Our commitment doesn't end when you drive away. Our experienced service teams are here to help keep your vehicle running its best with factory-trained technicians and the kind of customer care that's earned your trust year after year.
Need collision repair? The Bobsite Collision Center works on all makes and models.
But first, our La Feta Delicatessen into the hour answer. When was the last time Patrick Mahomes had a 70-yard plus completion?
Man, I don't even know. I have no idea.
2021, Cleveland Browns, the season opener on September 12th.
Really?
Yeah.
Who was it to?
Tyreek Hill, 75-yard touchdown.
Okay. Been a while. Maybe I think he gets that again this year. Hey, when spice up the KU-MU rivalry, Eli had a little fun at the expense of folks from Kansas while appearing on Sirius XM Sports.
And when you talk about the University of Kansas, what's the best thing that comes out of the state of Kansas? I-70, okay? All right? And what do you call a good-looking girl in Kansas? A tourist, okay?
How about that? Taking shots. Is that really called for? Are we okay with that, Kansas fan?
Kansas fans, we can find a lot to say about Missouri. That's all right.
You got any Missouri jokes you want to share with us
Not
real
clean
quick?
ones, no.
No, okay. All right. So there it is. Taking shots already. Should be a fun game. Better win it. You better win it. You're going to be favored. It's not one you want to drop.